Due to his heroic act of saving a drowning child, Lin Sheng unexpectedly finds himself transported to an unfamiliar ancient world. Upon arriving, he discovers that he possesses an extraordinary ability that drives women to madness. Witness the whimsical Lin Sheng as he stirs the tides of this new realm. However, upon his demise, he realizes that the story is far from over. It seems he has traversed time once more. Chapter 1. Reluctant to revive, transcending to the past. I have perished. After rescuing the child from the water, I succumbed to exhaustion and drowned. Yet after death, there is no realm of shadows nor the presence of spectral beings. Instead, I am met with an expanse of pure white. Lin Sheng found himself suspended in this alabaster void, astonished as he gazed around. Do you regret it? A voice suddenly echoed in Lin Sheng's ear. Regret what? What is there to regret? Regret diving in to save the child. Had you not intervened, you would not have met your demise. The voice addressed Lin Sheng's confusion. Of course I do not regret it. I performed a noble deed. Proudly, Lin Sheng declared in response to the voice. Yet the price was your life. The voice persisted. But she survived. Lin Sheng retorted with pride. After a brief silence, the voice returned. Do you consider a life exchanged for another to be just? Certainly not. It was merely an unfortunate mishap. I had not anticipated her weight. Then you do regret it? Why should I? A mishap is simply that. I was aware of the risks when I chose to dive in. My father always said, a man must take responsibility for his actions. The voice seemed to find a chink in Lin Sheng's armor. So you think your parents will react in what manner upon your death? Though it was expected that Lin Sheng would feel sorrow at the thought of his parents, he instead spoke with unabashed pride. They will undoubtedly be proud of me. I saved a life. Are you lacking in common sense? The voice questioned, slightly exasperated. How do you know? My mother always says that about me. Lin Sheng responded, astonished that the voice knew this secret. Forget it. Do you wish to return to life? Absolutely not. Very well, but why? Lin Sheng's unwavering refusal caught the voice off guard, prompting a perplexed inquiry that I have read enough stories and comics to know that reviving the dead is no trivial matter. It could unleash catastrophic consequences. Moreover, death is part of life. To return is profoundly unfair. Lin Sheng initially spoke with a sense of triumph, as if he had seen through the voice's ruse, before his expression turned serious with the latter part of his statement. Are you thus unwilling to resurrect and meet your parents, even if their lives are diminished by grief due to your demise? The voice posed a taunting question. Though a look of melancholy crossed Lin Sheng's face, he still replied. Life and death are natural laws. It cannot be helped. My sister will take good care of them. Clearly, Lin Sheng remained steadfast in his refusal to return. So, you truly do not wish to live again. The voice's tone remained calm, reminiscent of its original intonation. Indeed, for life and death are the natural order of things. To bring the dead back is a violation of. As Lin Sheng spoke, he suddenly felt a sharp kick to his back, propelling him forward. Upon transforming into a radiant star in that pure white space, the entity that had communicated with him emerged, expressing her frustration. Indeed, the world is vast, and it seems every manner of fool exists. How could someone so lacking in sense, yet full of lofty ideals be chosen? I must have drawn the short straw. Her ire and exasperation were of no concern to the now bewildered Lin Sheng, who lay on the ground, drawing the attention of the surrounding eunuchs, palace maids, the empress, and the Zhao Wangfei, who stood beside her. In their eyes, Lin Sheng appeared merely as a small eunuch, suddenly collapsing in the middle of the hall, drawing attention. In reality, Lin Sheng's forward tumble was a reflexive response to the force of the kick. As he lay there, dazed, two eunuchs swiftly approached, one on each side, grasping his arms to lift him up. It was at this moment that Lin Sheng finally regained his composure and surveyed his surroundings, or rather, the resplendent figure seated at the head of the hall, the most beautiful woman he had ever encountered. The empress of the Dezhou dynasty had skin as fair as snow, delicate as the finest jade, without a single blemish. Her willow-shaped brows arched gracefully, and her eyes, sharp and clear as autumn waters, held an innate regality. She donned a bright yellow phoenix robe, intricately embroidered with golden lotus patterns, making her appear as a celestial goddess, exquisite and divine. Lin Sheng stood entranced. Conversely, the empress, Wugo, experienced a whirlwind of emotions while observing him. Initially surprised and displeased by his sudden advance, she soon found herself captivated by his striking features, ultimately feeling a rush of joy and excitement when she witnessed his dazed admiration. She was startled by her own thoughts. Just then, one of the eunuchs supporting Lin Sheng spoke. Your Majesty, this man has disturbed the royal presence. It is our fault. We humbly ask for your punishment. Awakened from her reverie, Wugo gazed at Lin Sheng, who appeared pitiful. Her heart softened, and she was about to speak. Your Majesty, I believe this little eunuch, though somewhat out of line, was merely standing for too long due to our oversight of the time, resulting in his fall. I feel the blame lies with me. At that moment, the Zhao Wangfei, seated to Wugo's left, unexpectedly interjected on Lin Sheng's behalf, leaving those around her astonished. Since you have spoken thus, let this matter be forgiven. You may return. Wugo, her thoughts in turmoil, graciously accepted this opportunity to diffuse the situation, gesturing for the two eunuchs to release Lin Sheng. The eunuchs, obeying the Empress's command, gently set Lin Sheng down, treating him as if he were a precious artifact. Once released, Lin Sheng attempted to rise, but the impact of his earlier fall had left his knees sore. As he stood abruptly, his legs buckled, threatening to send him crashing down again. However, a pair of delicate hands caught his shoulders, preventing another fall. Lin Sheng looked up to find himself gazing into a pair of bright, star-like eyes, framed by brows that arched gracefully, exuding a hint of heroism. Her nose was straight and refined, her lips a natural soft pink, possessing a resolute elegance. She wore a silver-red brocade gown, her inky black hair styled into an elegant phoenix bun, adorned with a white jade hairpin set with a ruby. Are you all right? Bu Ruiying inquired gently, her voice imbued with warmth. Her eyes, dark as polished onyx, reflected Lin Sheng's still-dazed expression. Seeing him in such a state, the spirited woman smiled. Her smile is truly enchanting, Lin Sheng thought to himself. As Bu Ruiying prepared to speak again, Wugo's voice interrupted. Zhao Wangfei, please rise. This position is not suitable for you. Wugo's tone was neither cold nor warm, yet it caused Bu Ruiying to frown slightly before she quickly composed herself and returned to her original seat. What is your name? Wugo's voice reached Lin Sheng's ears as he glanced at Bu Ruiying settling down. He turned to find the stern yet dignified countenance of Wugo fixed upon him. Lin Sheng. Though he was uncertain of his surroundings, Lin Sheng could surmise enough to answer truthfully with his name. Lin Sheng. Ah, what a delightful name. It sounds so festive. From now on, you shall come to my side and serve as my attendant. Thus spoke Wugo. Although Lin Sheng was unsure how his name could be considered festive, even his somewhat dim-witted self recognized the necessity of a response. After all, he had no desire to seek death, especially in an era where moralities were far less humane than in modern times, and where the concept of humanitarianism was virtually non-existent. Lin Sheng was well aware of numerous torturous punishments that were worse than death, and he had no intention of experiencing them. Yes. Lin Sheng bowed respectfully. Come here. Wugo observed Lin Sheng's bowing demeanor and, rather than feeling anger, found his somewhat foolish nature endearing. Meanwhile, Bu Ruiying attempted to speak several times, but upon witnessing Wugo's expression, ultimately decided to wait and claim Lin Sheng at a later time. Indeed, it was not only Wugo who felt an immediate fondness for Lin Sheng. Zhao Wangfei also found him to be quite to her aesthetic liking. Though Lin Sheng was merely a young eunuch, this was advantageous. It allowed for the possibility of engaging in indiscreet actions without raising suspicion. As for whether she could persuade Wugo to part with Lin Sheng, she was exceedingly confident. After all, she was the esteemed Zhao Wangfei, daughter of the Duke of the Great Zhou, and it would be unthinkable for the Empress to deny her request for a mere eunuch. After all, it was simply a matter of offering some benefits to the royal family. Lin Sheng, guided by Wugo's gaze and a subtle gesture from the maids beside her to move aside, positioned himself quietly behind her left. With Lin Sheng's affairs momentarily settled, the conversation shifted to Wugo and Bu Ruiying. On the surface, their discourse appeared to be light-hearted small talk, yet Lin Sheng sensed that the situation was likely more complex than it seemed. He simply could not discern the underlying nuances. The only thing that puzzled Lin Sheng was how Zhao Wangfei would steal glances at him during their conversation. Though intrigued, he offered her a smile in return, considering her beauty aligned with his preferences and recalling her earlier kindness towards him. Unbeknownst to him, Bu Ruiying, upon receiving Lin Sheng's smile, quickly redirected her gaze, her cheeks flushing slightly before glancing back again. After exchanging meaningful looks 3 or 4 times, Wugo could no longer tolerate the silent interaction and issued an order for Zhao Wangfei to depart. Though reluctant to part with Lin Sheng, Bu Ruiying dared not defy the Empress and ultimately cast one last lingering glance at him before departing with her entourage. Once Bu Ruiying had left, Wugo turned her attention to Lin Sheng. This gaze sent a shiver down Lin Sheng's spine, leading him to believe she intended to reprimand him. Observing Lin Sheng's fearful demeanor, Wugo's eyes darkened with displeasure. Did she truly appear so fearsome? Or was it simply that she lacked the beauty of Buruing? Everyone else, leave. Lin Sheng, you stay. Dugu Wugo waved away the eunuchs and maidens flanking her, yet the three maids standing beside Lin Sheng remained in place, evidently trusted confidants. Lin Sheng, what did you do before entering the palace? Dugu Wugo inquired, her gaze fixed upon him. This question rendered Lin Sheng momentarily speechless. Having suddenly arrived in this realm, how could he possibly know what this body had done prior to entering the palace? I do not know. After a moment of contemplation, Lin Sheng finally spoke the truth. Upon hearing Lin Sheng's response, Dugu Wugo regarded him intently, while he silently met her gaze. Sigh? Very well, Ningsu. Take him to change clothes, and allow him to rest. I shall summon him later. Dugu Wugo ultimately waved her hand, instructing one of the maids standing behind her to escort Lin Sheng away. Yes, a maid with a delicate countenance approached Lin Sheng. Lin Gonggong, please follow me. Her tone was exceedingly respectful, making Lin Sheng feel less like a mere eunuch and more akin to a high-ranking official. Lin Sheng followed the maid, named Ningsu, as she led him away. Lin Gonggong, where was your original residence? Ningsu suddenly asked after exiting the hall. I do not know. Lin Sheng felt utterly lost. Ningsu, receiving Lin Sheng's response, said nothing further but maintained her respectful demeanor. Very well, Lin Gonggong, please follow me. Ningsu continued to lead the way, while Lin Sheng trailed behind. Along their path, they encountered several groups of maidens and eunuchs, all of whom halted in reverence, bowing their heads in greeting. Ningsu, however, ignored them, continuing on with Lin Sheng. Ningsu. Along the way, Lin Sheng attempted to inquire about various matters, but before he could finish, Ningsu stopped and bowed her head to him. Lin Gonggong, please do not refer to me as sister. You may simply call me Ningsu. In the presence of someone so evidently favored by both the Empress and Zhao Wangfei, Ningsu dared not exhibit the slightest arrogance, only respect. After all, it was widely known that 9 out of 10 eunuchs were perverse, with the remaining 1 being a moderate. Ningsu had no desire to provoke Lin Sheng's ire over a trivial slight, especially considering the Empress's apparent disposition. If Lin Sheng wished her harm, even her status as a trusted confidant of the Empress would not guarantee her safety. Very well, Ningsu, where are we headed? Lin Sheng, seeing Ningsu so intimidated by a mere address, chose not to dwell on it, and instead inquired about something of genuine concern. The Empress has instructed me to take you to change clothes and prepare you to serve her. Naturally, you will be residing at Zichunwu from now on. Ningsu replied earnestly. What does this serving entail? Lin Sheng questioned, as he was about to embark on this new role as a young man of the new era, unaccustomed to manual labor. He pondered whether he would be expected to perform delicate tasks that might infuriate Dugu Wugo, much like his own mother. Chapter 2, Dugu Wugo, The Dark Arts. Upon hearing Lin Sheng's words, Ningsu hesitated, contemplating whether to speak. Observing her indecision, Lin Sheng encouraged her, insisting, just tell me. I promise I will not reveal it to anyone. Ningsu regarded Lin Sheng as if he were a simpleton, yet ultimately divulged a general direction. Considering the time, the Empress is likely preparing for her bath and changing clothes. With that, she ceased further conversation, leading Lin Sheng to Zichunwu. Lin Gonggong, please rest here for a moment. I will fetch some garments for you. After saying this, Ningsu hastily departed, leaving Lin Sheng alone in the quiet yet impeccably clean room. Once inside, Lin Sheng instinctively reached beneath himself to confirm his status as a eunuch. Although he had previously checked, he felt compelled to verify once more. While he had no intention of embracing death, he certainly did not wish to become a eunuch. Phew! Still intact. As he relaxed, he began to wander around the spacious room. The layout was quite simple, featuring a main door and 2 windows on either side. Aside from a bed, the room contained only 2 wooden stools and accompanying chairs. However, despite the minimal furnishings, the space was remarkably vast. In Lin Sheng's estimation, this room was at least twice the size of his previous personal quarters. Although the room was expansive, there was little to observe, and soon Lin Sheng found himself seated on a stool, deep in thought. It was evident that he had traversed to another realm, and he must possess some unique qualities. After all, a healthy man such as himself could hardly envision ending up in the imperial palace as a eunuch. Moreover, the attitudes of the Empress and the Princess Zhao towards him were highly suspicious. Although Lin Sheng was somewhat simple-minded, he was not a fool. He could certainly discern their blatant behaviors. How frustrating it is, not even providing me with a manual for this so-called golden finger. leaving me to guess what it entails. Just as he was mulling over his thoughts, Ning Su approached carrying a purple robe. Lin Gonggong, I have brought you your attire. Please put it on. The Empress's attendants have already come to urge us. Ah, very well. Upon hearing Ning Su's words, Lin Sheng reluctantly set aside his reflections on the golden finger, accepted the robe from her, and looked at Ning Su. Their eyes met, and she promptly understood to withdraw from the room, kindly closing the door behind her. Left alone, Lin Sheng began to change. Fortunately, the garment was not overly complicated, and after Ning Su's second prompt, he opened the door. Seeing Lin Sheng finally emerge, Ning Su intended to hasten him towards the Empress. However, upon getting closer and noticing Lin Sheng's disheveled attire, she felt compelled to stop and tidy him up to avoid any embarrassment before the Empress. Once she finished adjusting his appearance, she quickly grasped Lin Sheng's hand and led him briskly along. Were it not for the palace's prohibition against running, she would have urged him to sprint. Ning Su, rest assured this is my issue. If the Empress inquires, just place the blame on me, Lin Sheng said as he followed Ning Su's rapid pace. Ning Su offered him no response, merely continuing to hurry onward. Upon reaching the entrance of Feng-Yi Palace, where Dugu Wugo resided, Ning Su finally paused to utter, "Calm yourself." Lin Sheng, slightly out of breath, nodded in acknowledgement, feeling somewhat exasperated. He had not anticipated that despite his journey to another world, his physical condition remained unchanged, still akin to his former self. Once Lin Sheng's breathing steadied, Ning Su guided him into Feng-Yi Palace. Upon entering, Lin Sheng was immediately struck by a delightful fragrance, far surpassing the expensive perfume his sister had purchased. However, the atmosphere was stifling. All the palace maids and eunuchs, including the two trusted maids standing behind the Empress, exhibited a palpable tension, bowing their heads as if prey evading a predator's gaze. Lin Sheng's attention was drawn to the languid figure of Dugu Wugo reclining on her seat, and was promptly pulled down to kneel by Ning Su. "I have delayed, causing the Empress to wait. Please punish me." Upon hearing Ning Su's words, Lin Sheng quickly interjected, addressing Dugu Wugo directly. "Empress, this was entirely my fault for taking too long to change. Ning Su bears no responsibility for this tardiness." "Fool!" Ning Su glared at Lin Sheng, wishing she could slap some sense into his thick skull. As a trusted confidant of Dugu Wugo, she understood that although the Empress was slightly displeased, as long as she offered an apology without excuses or concealment, Dugu Wugo would not impose a severe punishment. However, Lin Sheng's words changed everything. Indeed, upon hearing Lin Sheng's remark, Dugu Wugo's previously relaxed demeanor vanished, her sharp gaze now fixed on Lin Sheng and Ning Su. That look sent a chill down Ning Su's spine as she anticipated the Empress's icy command to have them both punished. Enough. When did this palace establish a custom of kneeling at every turn? Stand and speak. Ning Su, Astoni's head, desired to raise her head and gauge Dugu Wugo's expression, but restrained herself. Lin Sheng immediately helped Ning Su to her feet, as he too disliked kneeling. Recalling the unpleasantness of being punished in such a manner by his parents during childhood mischief with his sister, not only was Ning Su astonished, but the two trusted maids behind Dugu Wugo were equally taken aback. While Dugu Wugo was not a cruel or malicious empress, she was hardly a figure associated with kindness or compassion. After all, one does not rise to the position of empress from being a mere concubine without a cunning mind. In truth, Dugu Wugo had indeed harbored some irritation from having to wait for Lin Sheng, but she had not intended to punish the two. Initially, upon Ning Su's apology, she planned to let the matter slide. Yet, Lin Sheng's insistence on taking full responsibility, especially with his familiarity towards Ning Su, greatly displeased Dugu Wugo. Why was he so familiar with Ning Su, but not with her? Did she seem like someone who would take lives at a whim, instilling fear in others? Dugu Wugo had intended to give Lin Sheng a minor lesson to teach him obedience. However, upon locking eyes with him, she found herself inexplicably softening, letting go of her displeasure. It was astonishing to her that a victorious schemer in palace intrigue could be swayed by a mere eunuch's gaze. Nonetheless, while she could overlook her discontent with Lin Sheng, she could not extend the same leniency towards Ning Su, even though she was her confidant. "Ning Su, you have been in the palace for quite some time, and yet you still commit such errors. I will punish you by deducting 3 months of your salary as a warning to others." "No, this is my fault. How can you punish Ning-su? Just as Ning-su began to breathe a sigh of relief, preparing to express her gratitude, Lin Sheng, in his obliviousness, jumped into protest once more. Ning-su, devoid of anger, braced herself for the impending storm. Dugawugo's gaze fell upon Lin Sheng, who met her stare in turn. Lin Sheng was acutely aware that his interjection at this moment could have dire consequences, yet his simple-mindedness prevailed. He was one who feared death, but could also be fearless for certain matters. Enough. Depart. Dugawugo, while holding Lin Sheng's gaze, repeatedly reminded herself that she must teach him a lesson and could not allow herself to be soft-hearted. However, despite her internal admonitions, her words ultimately reflected a concession to Lin Sheng. By this time, Ning-su had ceased to be shocked. She had grown numb. Upon hearing Dugawugo's words, Ning-su quietly stood and exited Feng-e Palace. You all may leave as well. Dugawugo gestured to the surrounding palace maids and eunuchs. Suddenly, all the palace maids and eunuchs in the Feng-e Palace vacated the room, including the two trusted maids behind Dugawugo. The chamber was left with only Dugawugo and Lin Sheng. Are you not afraid of death? Dugawugo inquired, her expression inscrutable as she regarded Lin Sheng. I fear death, but if my existence jeopardizes others, then I would rather embrace death. After all, I have died once already, Lin Sheng replied honestly, while silently contemplating. Dugawugo scrutinized Lin Sheng's response, weighing whether it was mere pretense. She reasoned that if she could not discern the influence Lin Sheng had on her, she was unworthy of being an empress. Even a love at first sight could not evoke such profound feelings. Thus, Dugawugo concluded that Lin Sheng must have cast some form of enchantment upon her. Since Lin Sheng had taken action against her, there must be a specific purpose behind it, and she was determined to extract that purpose from Lin Sheng, which would allow her to manipulate him later. As for the departure of the two trusted maids, it was a testament to the potency of Lin Sheng's sorcery. Even though Dugawugo suspected his ulterior motives, she was unwilling to see him entangled in danger. However, upon closer observation, Dugawugo realized that Lin Sheng did not possess a particularly intricate mind. His demeanor, though fearful of death, radiated an innocence that was unmistakable. Contemplating this, Dugawugo pressed her temples, unsure whether Lin Sheng's acting was so masterful that she could not discern the truth, or if he genuinely possessed such a nature. The latter seemed improbable, for how could a mere acquaintance evoke such obsession? After contemplating, she devised her strategy to engage with Lin Sheng and thus spoke, "Smile for me." She had resolved that if she could not perceive Lin Sheng's intentions, she would refrain from making the first move and instead savor her own fluttering heart while waiting for Lin Sheng to reveal his true self. In essence, she would consume the sugar coating first, allowing the cannonball to emerge from it before addressing it. Hence, she uttered those words. Lin Sheng, catching the subtle exchange with the Princess of Zhao, noticed her expression. She too desired a smile from him. Upon hearing Dugawugo's request, Lin Sheng immediately smiled, thinking it was just a smile and would cost him nothing. However, Dugawugo was profoundly affected by this. She had not anticipated that Lin Sheng's seemingly insincere smile could be so captivating and warm. No wonder Buruing had appeared so enamored. Dugawugo felt an overwhelming heat coursing through her body, particularly below her abdomen. She gripped the arms of her chair tightly, avoiding Lin Sheng's smile, and it took a considerable time for her to regain her composure. Stop smiling, it's too fake, Dugawugo murmured, lowering her head as she attempted to collect herself, instructing Lin Sheng to conceal that inappropriate smile. Oh, Lin Sheng complied, retracting his smile, allowing Dugawugo to face him with a slightly flushed expression. Observing Lin Sheng's innocent demeanor, which was devoid of expression, Dugawugo felt provoked. How could a mere eunuch provoke her so audaciously with sorcery? She must reclaim her dignity. With such thoughts, Dugawugo addressed Lin Sheng. Come here and massage my shoulders. Oh, Lin Sheng obediently approached. Your Majesty, I have never learned to massage, so I may not do it well. Lin Sheng preemptively informed Dugawugo as he stood behind her. Just do it, Dugawugo nonchalantly replied, having no expectations of Lin Sheng's skills. Once granted permission, Lin Sheng placed his hands on her shoulders near her neck and began to apply pressure. The moment Lin Sheng exerted force, Dugawugo felt her body soften, involuntarily releasing a sound that filled her with embarrassment and fury. You! Dugawugo sprang to her feet. turning angrily to face Lin Sheng. She had not anticipated that Lin Sheng would use sorcery to elicit such a sultry sound from her. The dignified empress of the great Zhou. Yet, upon seeing Lin Sheng's slightly flustered expression, her anger dissipated, leaving behind an unacknowledged sense of shyness. Your Majesty. The two trusted maids of the Empress rushed in upon hearing the commotion. Who permitted you to enter? Dugu immediately reprimanded them. The two maids knelt and explained. We heard the sound of the table being struck and feared for your Majesty's safety, thus disregarding your decree to enter. We asked for your punishment. Dugu realized her reaction had been excessive and instructed them to rise, inquiring further. Did you hear anything else apart from the table being struck? The two maids exchanged glances before replying. No. It is best that you did not. Now, prepare water. I wish to bathe. Dugu commanded, her tone calm, though inwardly. She felt the need for a bath after the incident with Lin Sheng. The two maids complied respectfully. Come here. Dugu shot Lin Sheng a fierce glare, as she believed, and commanded him to wait outside her bathing chamber. Lin Sheng stood there, pondering Dugu's reactions to him. Is my golden finger the body of a succubus? He mused. But wait, if I am a succubus, then why did Ning Su and the other maids not react? With too few controls, Lin Sheng found himself perplexed. Chapter 3. Drowning while Lin Sheng stood outside. Lost in thought, Dugu reclined at the edge of the bath, with Ning Su half leaning over to massage her shoulders, while the other two trusted maids added water and flower petals. Ning Su, what do you think of Lin Sheng? Dugu inquired, enjoying the professional massage from Ning Su, yet finding it unremarkable in contrast to the stirring sensations evoked by Lin Sheng's touch. Thus, she posed the question. After a moment of contemplation, Ning Su replied, Your Majesty, in my humble opinion, Lin Gong possesses a genuine nature, an innocent heart that is steadfast. Is that so? It seems we share a similar perspective. Dugu smiled unconsciously upon hearing Ning Su's assessment of Lin Sheng. She found herself more delighted by compliments directed at Lin Sheng than those directed at herself. Upon hearing Dugu's words, Ning Su chose to remain silent. All right, summon Lin Sheng inside. Dugu, finding Ning Su's technique increasingly dull, longed for Lin Sheng's provocative touch, and thus spoke. Hearing her command, Ning Su nodded in agreement. Your Majesty wishes for me to let him in? Lin Sheng was incredulous as he saw Ning Su exiting. Indeed, Lin Gong. Ning Su confirmed while discreetly observing Lin Sheng with curiosity. She was genuinely intrigued by what made Lin Sheng so special that Dugu seemed transformed at his presence. But, Your Majesty is currently bathing. Can I really enter? Lin Sheng blurted out instinctively. Then, upon noticing Ning Su's peculiar gaze, he quickly recalled his current role. What harm could a eunuch see in a woman bathing? Yet, he was not a eunuch. If he were to see something inappropriate and respond, the consequences would be dire. However, he now found himself compelled to enter, for the command of the Empress was absolute. If he continued to refuse, it would be evident to all that he harbored ulterior motives, and that would surely lead to his demise. Thus, Lin Sheng recited to himself, Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form, and stepped into the bathing chamber of the Empress. This sanctuary for her royal bath was nothing short of opulent, resembling a grand indoor swimming pool. Although the pool contained only Dugu, her presence alone sufficed. The warm mist enveloped him, carrying a delicate fragrance of orchids. As Lin Sheng raised his gaze, he was momentarily entranced. The ethereal beauty before him was Dugu, her hair cascading like an inky waterfall, having loosened from its knot, softly draping over her back while leaving her shoulders bare. Her shoulder line was exquisitely sculpted, smooth yet not overly plump, her fair skin glistening in the warm vapor. Reminiscent of fine jade, kissed by morning dew, tender to the touch as if it might melt away with a single caress. Lin Sheng, a mere cook, had never encountered such a scene. His heart raced as if a startled deer were trapped within his chest, thudding violently against his ribcage. Thanks to some exposure to similar sights on the internet prior to his time travel, he managed to suppress his surging emotions, striving to maintain composure. At that moment, Ning Su nudged Lin Sheng, pulling him back to reality. Taking a deep breath, he slowly approached the goddess veiled in mist. Your Majesty, Ning Su called out, reaching Dugu first to announce Lin Sheng's arrival. Yes, Lin Sheng, Come over, massage my shoulders. Dugu languidly reclined by the pool's edge, a smile playing upon her lips. She was certain that in the presence of Ning Su and the others, Lin Sheng would not dare to employ any nefarious tricks. Upon hearing her words, Lin Sheng recognized the challenge laid before him. He steadied his racing heart and gradually reclined behind Dugu, his gaze falling upon her lustrous black hair. He hesitantly placed his trembling hands upon her shoulders. The moment they made contact, Lin Sheng felt as though he were pressing against a warm gemstone, luxurious yet imbued with the softness of flesh. Dugu, on the other hand, was overwhelmed. It felt as if her mind were under relentless bombardment, each caress igniting waves of sensation within her. The warmth emanating from Lin Sheng's hands sent shivers through her, provoking a deep itch in her heart. She had never anticipated that Lin Sheng would dare to use such forbidden techniques before Ning Su and the others. He truly feared nothing. As these thoughts coursed through her mind, she clutched the edge of the pool tightly, her eyes shut as she stifled the rising pleasure. Lin Sheng, misreading her reaction as one of indifference, began to apply more pressure. With that pressure, Dugu could no longer contain the torrent of sensations within her. Letting out a cry of ecstasy, her body succumbing to the moment as she slid into the pool. Your Majesty, Ning Su and the other two confidants called out in unison before diving in after her. Lin Sheng, though a beat behind, being the closest to Dugu, seized her shoulders and fell into the water with her. Initially caught off guard, he swallowed a few gulps of pool water, but quickly regained his composure, planting his feet on the pool's bottom and embracing Dugu to lift them both above the surface. As they gasped for fresh air, Lin Sheng instinctively retched before glancing down at Dugu. His heart sank upon seeing her face flushed like a peach, her body pressed against his, a pair of pale, glistening forms reflecting the light, causing his suppressed desires to surge uncontrollably. Dugu moaned again, her chin resting against Lin Sheng's chest, her gaze filled with astonishment. Your Majesty, are you all right? At that moment, Ning Su swam over. I am fine, go fetch me some clothes. Dugu commanded, diverting attention away from Lin Sheng. Upon hearing her order, Ning Su and the others hesitated for a moment before turning to leave the pool. Once they had departed, Lin Sheng spoke up. Your Majesty, let me help you to the shore. To his surprise, Dugu not only declined but wrapped her pale arms around his neck. Who are you, daring to employ such sorcery in the depths of the palace? What is your true purpose? Dugu questioned, pulling herself up to face Lin Sheng. Yet, in Lin Sheng's eyes, her inquiry held no authority. Instead, it intensified the eruption of his desires. Your Majesty, perhaps we should discuss this after we separate. He panted, grasping her slender waist in an attempt to push her away, only to find that Dugu resisted, pulling him closer instead. At that moment, Lin Sheng could feel her breath against his face. Since you have invoked this sorcery, is this not what you desired? Why pretend to be virtuous? Dugu gazed at him intently, her emotions spiraling out of control as she pressed herself against him without a second thought. This time it was Lin Sheng who gasped. Meanwhile, in the Zhao Wangfu, Buruing lounged in her chamber, her mind flooded with images of Lin Sheng smiling at her. Lin Sheng, Lin Sheng, Lin Sheng, Lin Sheng. She could no longer bear the weight. She felt an overwhelming urge to rush to the palace and bring him back. Tomorrow I shall go to the palace. With this resolution, Buruing began a second round of yearning for Lin Sheng. The kiss lasted an eternity, long enough for Lin Sheng to feel his lips tingle. When Dugu finally released him, he staggered backward, nearly falling into the water. Dugu licked her lips, her eyes sparkling with amusement as she observed Lin Sheng's dazed state. At that moment, she felt revitalized. Her previous weakness utterly vanished. She sensed an unparalleled nourishment, both physically and spiritually, that enchanted her, even knowing she was teetering on the edge of a precipice. Your Majesty, we have brought the garments. Just then, Ning Su and her companions arrived with 2 sets of clothing. Dugu stepped out of the pool and donned one set. Turning to Lin Sheng, who emerged from the water, soaked and disheveled, she smiled and said, change quickly. Do not catch a chill. Tonight, I still require your service. With that, she cast him a meaningful glance before departing. Lin Sheng remained transfixed, watching her retreating figure before turning to Ning Su, who held the other set of purple garments. He reached for them, but she deftly evaded his grasp. "Allow me to assist you, Lin Gongong." Ning Su replied to Lin Sheng's puzzled expression. But Lin Sheng hesitated, searching for an excuse, but Ning Su interjected, "Let me help. It is also the Empress's wish." "Very well." Thus, Lin Sheng found himself once again experiencing the sensation of being helped into his clothing, reminiscent of when he was 6 years old. No, Ning Su's technique was far superior. His mother had merely forced the garments onto him. Once dressed, Ning Su maintained her composed demeanor, unfazed even when encountering sights she ought not to have seen. Lin Sheng, feeling somewhat awkward, suddenly had a thought and reached out to touch Ning Su's face. She did not flinch, allowing him to gently pinch her cheek. "What sensation do you feel?" Lin Sheng inquired curiously. What does Lin Gongong wish for Ning Su to feel? The rhetorical question posed by Ning Su made Lin Sheng realize that the matters concerning the Empress did not apply to Ning Su. This raised a perplexing question about the nature of his golden finger. Ultimately, Lin Sheng remained baffled by the circumstances surrounding his golden finger. After changing his attire, he was escorted back to Ji Chun Wu by Ning Su, while another trusted palace maid of Du Gu Wu Gu accompanied several eunuchs to deliver a lavish feast to Lin Sheng. "With so many dishes, how can I possibly finish them all?" Lin Sheng remarked to the trusted maid. "Master Lin need not eat it all, just enjoy it, and kindly inform Ning Su. Someone will come to tidy up afterward," the maid replied. "How will they tidy up?" "By discarding it." Upon hearing the maid's words, Lin Sheng objected. "That seems too wasteful. Please leave me 3 or 4 dishes and take the rest away. Taking it away will still lead to its disposal." The maid's succinct response left Lin Sheng momentarily speechless. Once she departed with the eunuchs, only Lin Sheng and the patiently waiting Ning Su remained in the room. "Ning Su, come and eat as well. No refusals." Lin Sheng insisted. Hearing his request, Ning Su reluctantly took a seat opposite him, picked up her bowl and chopsticks, and began to eat. True to her role as a confidant of the Empress, Ning Su not only possessed beauty, but also exhibited remarkable grace while dining, savoring each morsel with poise. In stark contrast, Lin Sheng devoured his food with the fervor of a glutton, shoveling multiple bites into his mouth and swallowing without much chewing. "Ning Su, loosen up a bit. With so much food, how can you possibly finish it all?" Lin Sheng said between mouthfuls. "Master Lin, this is simply how I am accustomed to eating." Ning Su replied after finishing her mouthful. She added, "In the palace, there is an abundance of food. Even if some is wasted, no one would lament it. That cannot be. Every grain of rice is hard-earned, and wasting food is shameful," Lin Sheng exclaimed. Continuing his voracious consumption, Ning Su remained silent, continuing to eat quietly. In the end, both Lin Sheng and Ning Su finished the meal, though it was Lin Sheng who bore the brunt of the consumption. The consequence of this indulgence was a slightly protruding belly that left Lin Sheng reclining on the bed, reluctant to rise, much to Ning Su's exasperation. "Master Lin, the Empress's bedtime is approaching. You should attend to her now." "Now? The sun hasn't even set yet. How can one sleep at this hour?" Lin Sheng gazed incredulously at the dimming sunlight outside. The notion of sleeping at such an hour was unimaginable to him prior to his transmigration. Not sleeping, merely retiring for the night. Ning Su clarified, observing Lin Sheng's construction. Could we not wait a bit longer? My stomach aches terribly from overeating," Lin Sheng lamented, rubbing his distended belly. "To Ning Su, such a delay was out of the question. The Empress summons you. Regardless of your state, even if your legs were broken, you must crawl over." "Very well. I shall report to the Empress," Ning Su declared before turning towards Feng Yi Palace. Once Ning Su departed, Lin Sheng rested a hand on his belly, staring at the eaves, closing his eyes to digest the excess food. Unbeknownst to him, perhaps due to his overindulgence, he soon drifted into slumber. When he awoke, it was to the scent of flowers, familiar yet intoxicating, reminiscent of the bathing chamber and the Empress's fragrance. Suddenly, Lin Sheng opened his eyes wide. In the deep of night, the first sight that met his gaze was the ethereal beauty, Du Gu Wu Gu, seated beside him, gazing down at him. Upon noticing Lin Sheng's awakening, a smile graced her lips as she gently caressed his cheek, her voice dripping with affection. "Having kept you waiting for so long, how shall I punish you?" As her hand glided downward, traversing his neck and chest, it ultimately settled upon his stomach, though her hand did not rest there for long. As Lin Sheng seized her mischievous hand, "Your Majesty, with such beauty, surely you can forgive my transgressions. Aware that his charm held sway over Du Gu Wu Gu, Lin Sheng utilized his allure, mimicking the tone his sister used to coax their mother. Upon hearing Lin Sheng's declaration, Du Gu Wu Gu's alluring eyes sparkled with intensity as she eagerly inquired, "How beautiful am I? Exceedingly beautiful, in this life and the last. I have never encountered anyone as lovely as you." Lin Sheng replied candidly, despite feeling that Du Gu Wu Gu's focus was somewhat misplaced. As she heard his words, a blush crept onto Du Gu Wu Gu's cheeks, yet instead of shying away, she leaned in closer, her voice a sultry whisper. "So, such a beautiful maiden. Do you not wish to sample my sweet nectar?" At this moment, Lin Sheng hesitated. Logically, an invitation from such a stunning woman was a dream he would have never dared to entertain in his previous life. However, the implications of Du Gu Wu Gu's identity instilled a sense of caution within him. His hesitation was not solely due to her status as the empress, but stemmed from the fact that Du Gu Wu Gu was the emperor's woman. He was acutely aware of the emperor's possessiveness, especially regarding such matters. If he were to engage with Du Gu Wu Gu, he could not bear the thought of someone else touching his woman. As Lin Sheng contemplated this, Du Gu Wu Gu furrowed her brow, applying pressure to his face, jolting him back to reality. When Lin Sheng finally met her gaze, he found her expression tinged with sadness and a hint of longing. "I see now. You believe me to be a withered flower, that you disdain me. But can you truly blame me? Had you arrived years earlier, I would have forsaken all riches to escape this capital with you. I did not." Lin Sheng stammered, caught off guard by her emotional outburst, eager to explain himself, but was interrupted by Du Gu Wu Gu. "Then kiss me." Seeing Lin Sheng still wavering, Du Gu Wu Gu's expression shifted dramatically. "If you refuse my invitation, I shall not be so courteous." With that, she grasped Lin Sheng's face and kissed him fiercely. Lin Sheng attempted to resist, but he was taken aback by Du Gu Wu Gu's strength. She pinned him down effortlessly, shifting her position to straddle him completely, enveloping him with her presence. In that moment, Lin Sheng felt utterly powerless, akin to a delicate flower succumbing to the storm. Suddenly, Du Gu Wu Gu withdrew, sitting atop Lin Sheng's abdomen. Her expression a mix of confusion, frustration, and hurt. Why? Her question encapsulated a whirlwind of emotions she felt as the empress engaging in such intimate conduct. Yet Lin Sheng appeared to resist her advances to this extent. "I cannot bear the thought of my woman being touched by another," Lin Sheng declared simply, locking eyes with the visibly distressed Du Gu Wu Gu. At his words, a smile broke across Du Gu Wu Gu's face. She realized that his reluctance stemmed not from disdain, but from his possessive nature. Therefore, there was no cause for concern. "Fear not, after tonight. No one else shall touch me," Du Gu Wu Gu assured him earnestly. "Is that true? Trust me." Their eyes met, and after a moment, Lin Sheng nodded in agreement. "My dear husband, my tongue aches. I need some ointment." After his nod, Du Gu Wu Gu looked at him with a playful glint in her eyes. "I shall fetch the medicine for you," Lin Sheng responded, but before he could move, Du Gu Wu Gu's hands once again cradled his face, her voice softening. "The medicine is right here." After speaking, she pasted it up again. This time, there was no resistance. The two succumbed to their primal pleasures, tearing off clothes and throwing shoes aside, until the next day, when the concubines of the harem, in accordance with protocol, came to pay their respects to the empress. They were informed by Ning Su that the empress had caught a chill and would not be receiving guests for the next few days. Upon receiving this news, the harem ladies could only express their hopes for the empress's swift recovery, regardless of their speculations. Meanwhile, the empress, referred to as the one who caught a chill by Ning Su, was resting in the Ji Chun Wu, lying on her side, her upper body bare, covered only by a quilt, gazing at the disheveled Du Gu Wu Gu, gently caressing her cheek. It was confirmed. My golden finger resembles that of a protagonist from a risque manga. Last night, Lin Sheng had displayed remarkable prowess. Despite his physique that would usually leave him breathless after a mere few steps, he was extraordinarily vigorous during those intimate moments, leaving even the formidable Du Gu Wu Gu utterly exhausted. Moreover, upon waking that morning, Lin Sheng discovered that his body had indeed gained strength. It was no mere illusion, but a genuine transformation. He tested his newfound power, effortlessly causing a wooden chair in the palace to creak under his grip. Next, I can't be expected to establish a harem, can I? Lin Sheng pondered, reflecting on his current circumstances. Oh, let us go again. I can handle more. While Lin Sheng was lost in thought, Du Gu Wugua, still half asleep, unconsciously murmured as he caressed her cheek. Hearing her voice, Lin Sheng looked at her and broke into a silly smile. Never mind, I'm not that much of a stallion yet. He then leaned down to plant a gentle kiss on Du Gu Wugua's face before diving back under the covers, wrapping his arms around her and closing his eyes. The expression on Du Gu Wugua's face, nestled in Lin Sheng's embrace, softened significantly as she adjusted her position to ensure both their comfort for sleep. They slept soundly until the sun was high in the sky. Lin Sheng was awakened by the urgent knocking of Ning Su at the door. Guomin, Du Gu Wugua, wrapped in a quilt, stretched her sore back before addressing Ning Su. As Ning Su entered the room, despite having mentally prepared herself, she was momentarily taken aback by the chaotic state of the room, resembling that of a thief's den. Speak, what is it? Du Gu Wugua inquired, snapping Ning Su back to attention. Ning Su hastily lowered her head to report. The princess of Zhao has arrived, insisting on meeting you. What does she want? Du Gu Wugua, perhaps still dazed from last night, instinctively responded, then realized that the woman, Bu Ro Ying, likely wished to bestow something upon her beloved. Tell her to leave. Just say, I am unwell and cannot receive guests. Du Gu Wugua had no fondness for those who courted Lin Sheng, and her statement held a grain of truth. She indeed felt somewhat unwell. I have already conveyed this to the princess of Zhao, but she remains insistent, which is why I am here disrupting you. Ning Su replied helplessly. Very well, go fetch 2 outfits. I shall meet her. Yes. After Ning Su left, Lin Sheng wrapped his arms around Du Gu Wugua's waist and asked with concern, Are you feeling all right? I am well. In fact, I feel quite wonderful. Du Gu Wugua replied, smiling as she leaned against Lin Sheng's chest. Lin Sheng's grip tightened slightly. You claim to be fine. All right. Just have Ning Su assist me a little later. Once Ning Su returned with 2 outfits, she began to help Du Gu Wugua and Lin Sheng change clothes. Are you truly all right? If not, let her wait. It would not be too late to meet her once you feel better. Lin Sheng, now dressed, still looked at Du Gu Wugua with worry. If you say that, I shall insist on meeting her, even if I am unwell. Du Gu Wugua smiled at Lin Sheng. Why? It is of course for you. Du Gu Wugua gazed at Lin Sheng's silly expression, filled with delight, and could not help but steal a kiss. Lin Sheng, unable to resist such provocation, immediately returned the kiss. Thus, the two found themselves engaged in a passionate exchange, leaving Ning Su wishing she could bury her head in the ground. Fortunately, both were aware of the gravity of the situation and did not escalate their frolic into an outright quarrel. With Lin Sheng's support, Du Gu Wugua made her way from the back door to the Grand Hall of Feng Yi Palace to meet the Princess of Zhao. Your Majesty, greetings. Bu Roing saluted Du Gu Wugua, though her gaze was fixated on Lin Sheng, who was supporting Du Gu Wugua. At ease, you insisted on seeing me. What is the matter? Du Gu Wugua leaned against her chair and asked Bu Roing. Bu Roing had prepared a carefully crafted response to subtly discuss her desire for Lin Sheng. But upon noticing Lin Sheng's unwavering attention on Du Gu Wugua, a sense of foreboding crept in. After much deliberation, she decided to be straightforward. Regardless of the cost, she would take Lin Sheng away today. Your Majesty, upon meeting Lin Gongong yesterday, I felt an immediate affinity for him and wished to request him from you. Bu Roying's direct approach caught Du Gu Wugua off guard, but she quickly regained her composure and replied, That may not be possible. I hold a great fondness for Lin Sheng and have already promoted him to my personal eunuch. I fear I cannot grant your request. Moreover, I have never had the habit of giving away those close to me. Your Majesty, you must also allow others a choice. If Lin Gongong indeed wishes to leave the palace, it would not be appropriate for you to confine him here. That would tarnish your reputation. Would it not be better to let him choose for himself? Bu Roing's words deepened a sense of unease in Du Gu Wugua, prompting her to speak out, leaving Ning Su in disbelief at Bu Roying's audacity. Lin Gongong, rest assured if you choose to go with me. Your Majesty will not make things difficult for you. Bu Roing's declaration drew Lin Sheng's gaze to Du Gu Wugua's chest. Indeed, her heart is quite grand. He then locked eyes with Du Gu Wugua, fully understanding her sentiments. Virtue. Ahem. I appreciate the Princess of Zhao's kind offer, but I believe I am quite content here with your Majesty. Lin Sheng turned to Bu Roying, firmly rejecting her advances. His words confirmed Bu Roying's worst fears. Panic surged within her. "You were not like this yesterday," she exclaimed. "Lin Gonggong, I assure you, if you come with me, you will be treated like royalty." "Princess Zhao." Just as Bu Roying spoke, Dugu Wugwa sharply interrupted the dazed woman. The sound of Dugu Wugwa's voice brought Bu Roying back to her senses. She realized her blunder, yet she felt an overwhelming sense of frustration. The person she desired most was right before her, yet she could not possess him. She looked at Lin Sheng, desperate for any indication that he wished to accompany her. But ultimately, she failed. "Ning-su, please escort the Princess of Zhao back." "Princess, you should rest and refrain from entertaining any fanciful ideas. Otherwise, I may have to discuss matters with the Duchess of England." Dugu Wugwa delivered her farewell while simultaneously issuing a warning to Bu Roying. Bu Roying bit her lip in frustration, casting one last unwilling glance at Lin Sheng before rising to leave. She would not give up if this approach failed. She would resort to alternative tactics. Bu Roying's eyes burned with determination as she departed. After all, she was the legitimate daughter of the Duke of England. Although she had never commanded troops in battle, she had learned some military strategies from her brothers. Among these strategies was the principle that victory justified any means. Her demeanor suggested she was far from ready to concede. "As long as you do not relent, my husband, she poses no threat." Lin Sheng reassured Dugu Wugo. Dugu Wugo, brimming with unparalleled confidence, proclaimed, "Do not underestimate the prowess of a queen in palace intrigue." "Rest assured, I shall not." Lin Sheng grasped Dugu Wugo's hand and said this. "The noble consort has arrived." At that moment, a delicate voice announced from outside the hall. Subsequently, a figure clad in a pale pink silk gown, which accentuated her slender silhouette, entered gracefully, her skirt embroidered with subtle patterns of entwined lotus shadows. Upon her complete entrance into the hall, Lin Sheng scrutinized her closely. She appeared to be the very embodiment of the Jiangnan beauties throughout history. Her form was slender yet not frail, with delicate shoulders and a waist that could be encircled with a single hand. The soft, lightweight fabric of her pale, pink dress clung to her like the freshly blossomed peach blossoms in spring, charming yet not gaudy. Her ink-black hair was loosely styled into a cascading cloud bun, adorned simply with a mutton-fat jade hairpin, while her earrings danced lightly with two petite pearls. Her skin bore the distinctive luminous whiteness of Jiangnan women, delicate as if steeped in spring water. Her brows were like delicate willow leaves, naturally dark without embellishment, and her eyes resembled apricot kernels, glistening with moisture, the outer corners gently drooping, exuding a hint of gentle timidity. Her nose was refined, and her lips bore a faint cherry blossom hue, untouched by heavy cosmetics, yet possessing an innate allure. Anyone who beheld her could not help but exclaim, "What a tender, water-like beauty!" Yet Lin Sheng felt compelled to add, "The emperor truly dines luxuriously." He perceived the consort before him as a vision of gentle grace. Consort Shen Yuanji, on the other hand, found the eunuch beside the queen to be exceptionally intriguing. He stirred her heart to race, made her forget her surroundings, and ignited a longing within her. Chapter 5. A storm is brewing consort. Dugu Wugo, displeased by yet another woman coveting her treasure, spoke up. "Your Majesty, I have not had the pleasure of meeting this eunuch." Consort Shin was brought back to reality by Dugu Wugo's dissatisfied voice and remarked upon her. Then her gaze returned to Lin Sheng. "If you have no business here, you may leave. I am feeling quite unwell." Dugu Wugo, weary of dealing with this infatuated woman, chose to dismiss her. "Your Majesty, I find this eunuch quite familiar. I wonder if I might." In the end, it was not Dugu Wugo's displeasure that deterred Consort Shin Yuanji, but rather her maid and childhood friend who had grown up alongside her. "Your Majesty, let us return." The worried expression of her dear friend brought Shen Yuanji slightly back to her senses. She nodded, first taking her leave from Dugu Wugo before being pulled away by her friend, glancing back every few steps as they departed from Fengyi Palace. "Alas, it is all my fault. My charm is simply too great." After they left, Lin Sheng dramatically placed a hand on his forehead, lamenting. "What do you desire them?" Dugu Wugo asked with a smile as she regarded Lin Sheng. "Not at all. Of course not. Having you is sufficient." Lin Sheng, well aware of how to respond to this inquiry, genuinely felt this way. After all, while both Bu Ruiying and Shen Yuanji were stunning and aligned with his aesthetic, The woman he cherished at present was Dugawugo, and he could not entertain thoughts of infidelity. You need not force yourself. I do not know about Burueing, but Shen Yuanji is indeed a blatant flirt, always preoccupied with such matters. Had my skills not been superior at the time, who knows whose position I might occupy now. Nevertheless, they are indeed quite beautiful. If you desire them, I can assist you, but you must first ensure I am well fed, understand? Dugawugo's words left Lin Sheng astounded. Was this truly the nature of women in ancient times? He was smitten. We shall discuss this later. Lin Sheng chuckled. Meanwhile, Shen Yuanji, being dragged away by her friend, voiced her dissatisfaction. Yuqing, I want him. What is so special about that eunuch that you cannot forget him? Shen Yuanji's friend, Meng Yuqing, gazed at her with exasperation. You do not understand, Yuqing. I can feel it. From the moment I first laid eyes on him, I knew that my existence thus far has been for him. You must help me. Shen Yuanji implored her close friend like a lovesick maiden seeking assistance in her romantic pursuits. Is it truly so exaggerated? Meng Yuqing observed Shen Yuanji, finding her behavior somewhat excessive and alarming. If you will not assist me, I shall do it myself, Shen Yuanji declared, turning towards another consort's residence. Are you going to seek out Lu Guifei? Meng Yuqing hurried after her. They encouraged me to come here to gather information about the queen, and I am too tired to quarrel with them. I only want him. You no longer wish to be queen? Meng Yuqing, well acquainted with Shen Yuanji, immediately grasped her meaning and was taken aback. It is known that this young lady from the prestigious Shan family of Jiangnan had aspired since childhood to be the most esteemed woman in the realm. Now, she was prepared to abandon that ambition for a mere eunuch. In the past, I believed that becoming a queen was the highest achievement for a woman. But now I realize that as long as I can be with the one I love, it matters not whether I am a queen. Shen Yuanji spoke as if she had attained enlightenment, sending a chill down Meng Yuqing's spine. Subsequently, she fell silent, simply following Shen Yuanji to Lu Guifei's residence, Yuning Palace. What wind blows the illustrious consort to my humble abode? Lu Guifei, Lu Zishu, regarded Shen Yuanji with interest. I can assist you. The first statement from Shen Yuanji left Lu Zishu momentarily taken aback. Then came her second statement. Whether I become queen is of no consequence to me. I can help you contend with Dugawugo, provided you agree to one condition. At that moment, Lu Zishu, regaining her composure, looked at Shen Yuanji and inquired softly. What condition? I want one person. Which person? Shen Yuanji did not respond, merely gazing at Lu Zishu. Lu Zishu did not press further, simply smiling as she replied. Very well. To gain the support of a daughter from the Shen family, requiring only one person in return, is certainly an offer I cannot refuse. I hope you will honor your word. Shen Yuanji nodded and then departed. Lu Zishu watched Shen Yuanji's retreating figure and summoned her confidant. Investigate what the consort did at Fengyi Palace. Meanwhile, Lin Sheng, unaware that he was the catalyst for the brewing storm, was enjoying lunch with Dugawugo, followed by a midday exercise. It was not until the sun set in the afternoon that they ceased their activity. Dugawugo blissfully succumbed to slumber, while Lin Sheng, feeling invigorated, prepared to cleanse himself. Suddenly, he heard a sharp voice from outside. Your Majesty, the consort has contracted a cold. The imperial physician has warned of the risk of contagion. You must preserve your health. Panic surged through Lin Sheng as he realized the implications of the situation and atmosphere in the room. Anyone with even a modicum of knowledge would discern what had transpired here. The only option left was to take a gamble. Lin Sheng could not resign himself to inaction. After 2 vigorous sessions, his physical capabilities had been significantly enhanced, and he resolved to leverage this to his advantage. Just then, Dugawugo grasped Lin Sheng's forearm. Do not panic. Remain silent, she instructed him, then turned her gaze to the shadow approaching the door. Your Majesty, do not enter. Hearing Dugawugo's weak and somewhat hoarse voice, the shadow outside halted. Does the queen feel any significant discomfort? A commanding voice resonated from beyond the door. This humble servant has already summoned Grand Physician Gao from the Imperial Hospital. He has stated that I have a contagious cold, which can easily spread to others. So your Majesty should refrain from entering. Your health is of utmost importance. As Lin Sheng listened, a sudden realization jolted him. He stared in astonishment at Dugawugo by his side, only to see her playfully wink at him. Lin Sheng instantly comprehended her intent, and then, feeling somewhat troubled, He lowered his voice to speak. This is not appropriate, is it? The emperor is right outside the door, and a single misstep could lead to the annihilation of 9 clans, though it seems I do not have 9 clans. Dugawugo did not respond, but instead conveyed her deep affection for Lin Sheng through her actions, revealing her boldness as well. Ahem, Your Majesty, are you well? Cough, cough. I am fine. I merely. Cough, cough, feel a bit unwell, cough, cough. All right, please rest well, and I shall visit you tomorrow. As the shadow departed, Dugawugo playfully punched Lin Sheng in the chest. Her cheeks flushed as she remarked, You still say it's inappropriate? You almost got discovered just now. Lin Sheng embraced Dugawugo, chuckling as he replied, Am I not cooperating with you? If discovered, I would consider it a life-or-death commitment to accompany you. You are such a flatterer. At that moment, the emperor, leaving Fungi Palace, glanced back in its direction, feeling that the empress's tone was somewhat off. Yet he could not articulate why. He then turned to his attendant. Who has visited the empress today? Reporting to your majesty. Both Princess Zhao and Consort Shu have come to see the empress, and later, Consort Shu went to meet Consort Lu. Proceed to Shifeng residence. Meanwhile, Shen Yinji gazed at the portrait of Lin Sheng she had painstakingly drawn, gradually becoming entranced by it. Your Majesty is coming here. We must prepare to welcome him. Just then, Meng Yuqing hurried over, anxious to rouse the distracted Shen Yuanji. I cannot see him. Tell him I've caught a chill from the empress. Shen Yuanji remained focused on her drawing, not even lifting her eyelids. Meng Yuqing was utterly flabbergasted, never expecting Shen Yuanji to truly give up. After all, it had been quite some time since the emperor had last visited here. Had he come more frequently, perhaps Shen Yuanji would have conceived a dragon heir. And under those circumstances, she might not only have secured the position of empress, but also risen to become consort Shen like Lu Zixi. But now, Shen Yuanji was completely enchanted by that little eunuch beside the empress, leaving Meng Yuqing feeling quite helpless. Why are you so infatuated with a eunuch? He cannot even provide you with a son. At this rate, even if Shen Yuanji's father is the most esteemed official in Jiangnan, she'll find it hard to advance. Yet, despite Meng Yuqing's urgency, she was ultimately just Shen Yuanji's maidservant, obliged to comply and send the emperor away. The emperor, upon being informed, first felt baffled, then exceedingly displeased. Is the empress's chill truly that severe? Just a single meeting could lead to infection? Nevertheless, he had no choice but to head to Yuning Palace, only to be reminded by his attendant, Your Majesty, it should be Consort Lu's monthly period these days. Upon hearing this, the emperor laughed, albeit in irritation. It was absurd for an emperor, wishing to see his woman, to encounter obstacles at every turn. Forget it. Let us return to Ning Shou Palace. He declared, Who doesn't he have a little temper? If you do not see him, then he shall not see you either. Let us see who will end up begging whom. At Zhao Wangfu, I've been feeling unwell recently. You may go to the west gate. Bu Ruiying directly blocked Zhao Wang from entering. Zhao Wang looked utterly perplexed as the door slammed shut behind him, leaving him outside. After being denied entry, Zhao Wang's face twitched in frustration. He wished to curse but held back due to his upbringing and the influence of Bu Ruiying's family. Ultimately, he could only huff loudly and walk toward the west garden. Bu Ruiying noticed Zhao Wang's displeasure, but she was unconcerned. In the past, she might have been bothered, but now she only thought, what is Zhao Wang to me? Can he help me bring Lin Sheng here? Forming alliances was essential, and she felt a headache coming on, pondering why she was the only woman in her family. If only she had a sister in the palace. She could rightfully reside there and better compete for Lin Sheng's affection. Lin Sheng, how I long for you. In Fungi Palace, I cannot endure this. I am dying. I am dying. Water. After several rounds of playful sparring, Dugawugo was thoroughly defeated by Lin Sheng and began to plead for mercy. Lin Sheng, feeling a pang of compassion, paused to take a bowl of water from Ning Su and gently fed it to her. If my husband is not satisfied, he can call Ning Su or Shu Lan or Ji Yin to replace me. Dugawugo gazed at Lin Sheng, aware that she had not fully satisfied him, and said so. It was at this moment that Lin Sheng learned the names of Dugawugo's other 2 maidservants. What do you take me for? To be honest, the 3 maids were not unattractive. On the contrary, each possessed her own unique charm. Ning Su was a bit unremarkable, yet extremely obedient. Shu Lan exuded an aura of gentleness, while Ji Yin, true to her name, carried a scholarly demeanor. However, Lin Sheng was not a man driven solely by lust. Although he had become somewhat addicted after his first experience, he could still restrain himself. "You need not worry about me." Dugu assumed Lin Sheng's refusal stemmed from fearing her displeasure, and immediately explained that she would not be upset. Rather, she feared he would not be satisfied. "No, this is my true sentiment. Now let us sleep." Lin Sheng pressed a kiss to Dugu's moist lips and held her close as they lay down. Dugu, feeling both helpless and sweet, gazed at Lin Sheng before closing her eyes. Meanwhile, Ningsu curiously observed Lin Sheng. Naturally, she had some understanding of men's affairs, but she had never encountered someone like Lin Sheng who could spar all day long. Thus, when she heard Dugu suggest summoning her to take over, she felt a mix of curiosity and anticipation, but since Lin Sheng declined, she had no recourse. It seemed that Lin Gongong had been spoiled by the Empress and looked down upon them. The following morning, Lin Sheng awoke to find Dugu providing her morning wake-up service. "Husband, let us continue. Do not overexert yourself." Lin Sheng noticed the weariness in Dugu's eyes and, feeling somewhat resigned, urged her to come lie beside him. But Dugu wanted to say more. "Be obedient." Lin Sheng gently tapped her, causing her body to tremble as she complied and lay beside him. "Rest well. Do not fall ill for real, or I shall be heartbroken." "Oh." Under Lin Sheng's somewhat forceful, though not really, request, Dugu had no choice but to obediently lie down and rest. As Dugu entered a state of recuperation, Lin Sheng could not spend the entire day idly in bed. Noticing the fine weather outside, he decided to take a stroll. "Let Shulan accompany you outside." Ningsu stated she would care for the Empress, so Lin Sheng could find someone else. Certainly not, because she was angry about Lin Sheng's unhesitating refusal the night before. Very well. Lin Sheng followed Shulan as they wandered through the inner palace. Shulan was the same maid who had previously delivered meals to Lin Sheng, and she radiated a gentle aura. "Shulan, from now on, please deliver smaller portions. Otherwise, we will end up discarding food, which is quite wasteful." "Yes." Shulan respectfully replied to Lin Sheng. "By the way, which place in this palace is best suited for leisure?" Lin Sheng inquired. "The Imperial Garden. Would you like me to take you there? Then let's go take a look." Upon arriving at the Imperial Garden, Lin Sheng was struck by its beauty, aptly named as it was a place where a myriad of flowers bloomed in splendor. He recognized the names of several, such as roses, chrysanthemums, lotuses, and spider lilies. Among others, Lin Sheng paused before a striking red flower, identical to the spider lily he had seen in images before his time travel. "I did not expect to find spider lilies here." "Spider lilies?" Shulan, hearing Lin Sheng's words, turned her gaze to the tall flower before him, measuring at 30 to 60 centimeters. With an umbellate flower cluster atop, the petals were narrow and lanceolate, curling outward, and the stamens and flower columns extended outward as well. She then expressed her confusion. "This golden lantern flower has such a name? How peculiar." To comprehend the meaning behind the characters bien and en, one must recognize that they do not convey particularly favorable connotations. Jin Denghua. Lin Sheng was momentarily taken aback, subsequently attributing the differing nomenclature of flowers to the peculiarities of the world, thus dismissing it as a trivial occurrence. He rose to explore the Imperial Garden further. Alas! Just as Lin Sheng took a few steps, a figure rushed past him, colliding forcefully and almost causing him to stumble, were it not for his enhanced physical constitution. The individual who collided with Lin Sheng was instinctively held by him, preventing her from falling. "You insolent eunuch, release this princess," a haughty voice exclaimed, prompting Lin Sheng to frown and relinquish his hold on the petite figure before him. The girl who appeared before Lin Sheng seemed to be around 14 or 15 years of age, her features imbued with a brazen arrogance that overshadowed the expected gentleness of her youth. She was extraordinarily beautiful, adorned in a pomegranate red satin palace gown embroidered with gold, accentuating her slender, yet unrefined stature. Her waist was delicate, hinting at youthful innocence. The intricate gold-threaded patterns on her garment, adorned with pearls at the collar, exuded an air of aristocratic elegance. One of the ornamental clasps at her collar had loosened, causing the golden hairpin atop her coiled hair to tilt. And even as the pearls swayed, there was no semblance of disorder, instead adding an air of carefree arrogance. Upon closer inspection of her visage, the blend of youthful innocence and beauty was striking. Her skin radiated the unique alabaster glow of a young girl, with a faint blush gracing her cheeks. Her nose was petite and slightly upturned, carrying a childlike charm, and her lips, naturally tinted a soft pink, were pursed tightly, forming a rigid line that betrayed a certain coldness. Her eyebrows, akin to willow leaves, were fine and soft, their color a delicate blue-black. Yet she often wore a frown, the arches of her brows slightly elevated, giving her an unyielding countenance. Most captivating were her almond-shaped eyes, dark and glistening, their outer corners subtly upturned, reflecting a youthful sparkle filled with untamed energy. However, she regarded others with a dismissive gaze, her eyelids half lifted, the corners of her eyes cast sideways, brimming with an impatience that suggested an inherent superiority, akin to a pampered creature, ready to pounce at the slightest provocation. At that moment, she was directing her ire towards Lin Sheng. "What are you staring at? This princess intends to hold you accountable." "Lin Gonggong, this is Princess Zhao Yang." "Sulan, why are you not by the Empress's side, but here instead?" "Princess Ouyang clearly recognized Shulan," her expression shifting to one of curiosity as she regarded Shulan, explaining to Lin Sheng. Hearing her words, Lin Sheng turned to Shulan, pondering whether this headstrong girl was the daughter of Dugawugo. Understanding Lin Sheng's gaze, Shulan shook her head. "The Empress has the responsibility of nurturing the realm, and all the princesses and princes in the palace refer to her as mother." "Shulan, why are you explaining to this insolent eunuch?" "I am addressing you." Princess Zhao Yang, sensing Shu Lan's disregard, erupted into a fit of rage, shouting loudly. Little did she know that this very action would lead to her future regrets. Meanwhile, Lin Sheng regarded her with a frown, finding her increasingly irksome, and thus turned to Shulan. "Let's return." Shulan nodded, and the two began to depart. "Do not leave. You, a mere eunuch, not only failed to apologize for colliding with the princess, but also dare to ignore me. I shall punish you," Princess Zhao Yang exclaimed, seizing Lin Sheng's sleeve and pulling with force. At this juncture, Lin Sheng was genuinely perturbed, and he swiftly struck out, his hand landing on Princess Zhao Yang's grasping hand. Stung by the impact, Princess Zhao Yang involuntarily released her grip and fell to the ground with a thud, her rear now aching. Lin Sheng glanced at her momentarily stunned form before turning to lead Shulan away. "Ah, this princess is angered. You are doomed." The moment she regained her senses, Princess Zhao Yang charged at Lin Sheng like a frenzied beast, but this time her target was Shulan, who stood resolutely in place, unyielding against the princess's wild assault. "Lin Gonggong, you should return. Princess Zhao Yang needs to cool down." Shulan firmly restrained the princess, turning to smile at Lin Sheng. Lin Sheng nodded, wishing to avoid being pursued by this madcap girl, for he feared the entire palace would soon come to know of him. As Lin Sheng departed, Shulan cast a helpless glance at the obstinate Princess Zhao Yang, who struggled against her hold, intent on seeking retribution from Lin Sheng. "Princess, you have indeed bitten off more than you can chew." She could already envision how the Empress, who favored Lin Sheng, would reprimand Princess Zhao Yang for this incident. Subsequently, Shulan escorted Princess Zhao Yang back to Fengyi Palace, only to learn from Ning Su that Lin Sheng had not yet returned. In that instant, Shulan felt as if the sky had fallen. Meanwhile, Lin Sheng, on his way back from the Imperial Garden to Fengyi Palace, was suddenly struck from behind and enveloped in a sack. When he regained his senses, he found himself confined within a chamber. Lin Sheng had no inclination to ponder his captor's identity. He swiftly searched the room for a weapon. Regardless of who was responsible, he intended to retaliate fiercely. He broke off a corner of a wooden chair, ensuring the splintered edge remained sharp, and concealed it, waiting patiently for the mastermind to reveal themselves. As anticipated, the individual responsible for his abduction soon appeared. 2 eunuchs and 2 palace maids entered first, followed by a woman exuding an intoxicating blend of beauty and cunning. She was clad in a splendid sapphire blue gown embroidered with golden lotus patterns, the fabric of exceptional quality, shimmering subtly under the light. Unlike the soft pastels of the favored consorts, or the vivid reds of the princesses, the deep blue of her attire accentuated her poised stature. Her shoulders were rounded yet not feeble, her waist slender yet commanding, and her skirt trailed elegantly behind her, her movements deliberate and graceful. Her hair was adorned with a simple yet exquisite phoenix hairpin, and delicate pearl flowers were tucked at her temples. The earrings she wore were droplets of red gemstones encircled with pearls, understated yet meticulously crafted, devoid of excessive embellishments. As Lin Sheng observed her approach, he noted a striking amalgamation of allure and sharpness in her demeanor, reminiscent of a woman well-versed in the intricacies of court life, having shed the innocence of youth for a captivating brilliance. Her skin was a cool alabaster, smooth and unblemished, radiating the calmness of someone accustomed to the palace's weighty expectations. Her eyebrows were delicately arched, their dark hue hinting at a discerning intellect, and her eyes, akin to those of a phoenix, held a quiet depth, glimmering with a faint sharpness as she regarded him, a testament to her years of scheming and calculated maneuvering. Word has it that the Empress has taken a particular liking to a young eunuch. Her lips, painted a vibrant red, curled into a smile as she regarded Lin Sheng with a glimmer of amusement. "Who are you?" Lin Sheng inquired, concealing his weapon behind him as he met her gaze with curiosity. "It seems she truly dotes on you, even to the extent that I am a stranger to you. Tell me, does she intend to confine you within the confines of Fengigong, forbidding your escape? Who exactly are you?" Lu Zixi. The woman before Lin Sheng casually summoned a chair and seated herself in front of him, then arched an eyebrow as she revealed her name. Lin Sheng observed this woman, who, despite looking up at him, made him feel as if she were looking down upon him, his mind racing with myriad thoughts. The first was whether she was unaffected by the golden finger. The second was whether he should seize the moment to abduct her, before he could contemplate a third thought. Lu Zixi spoke again. "It appears you still do not grasp who I am. Otherwise, you should be on your knees, begging to be my dog." As she spoke, Lu Zixi crossed her legs, revealing her jade-like feet, pure and white as agate. "I have no such inclination, regardless of your identity. By the way, do you not wear shoes?" Lin Sheng cast a glance at Lu Zixi's exposed foot and replied coolly, while simultaneously expressing his curiosity. Upon hearing Lin Sheng's words, Lu Zixi burst into laughter, her mirth so infectious that it seemed Lin Sheng had shared an exceptionally amusing joke. "Ha ha, you are quite the entertainer. If you wish to know whether I wear shoes, kneel and lick the top of my foot, and I shall tell you," Lu Zixi teased, extending her delicate foot towards Lin Sheng, allowing him to see the alabaster instep and the faint blue veins. "Really? Then I shall oblige." Lin Sheng, with an expression of delight, stepped closer to Lu Zixi. She watched him approach with keen interest. Suddenly, Lin Sheng drew a wooden stick from his waist and lunged towards Lu Zixi, intending to take her hostage. However, in the next moment, a palace maid appeared in front of Lu Zixi, blocking Lin Sheng's advance, while two eunuchs seized his arms, pinning him to the ground. "Oh dear, you truly are unruly." Lu Zixi rose and strolled over to Lin Sheng, observing his struggles with a smile as she gently placed her foot on his face. Lin Sheng glanced beneath her, realizing she was indeed wearing shoes, having simply removed them herself. In a sudden fit of rage, he turned his head and attempted to bite the foot pressing against his face, for he detested having others tread upon him. Yet, to his astonishment, Lu Zixi seemed to possess a premonition, withdrawing her foot just in time, leaving Lin Sheng to bite air. "What a tenacious fellow you are. Now I understand why that woman is so fond of you. I find myself rather taken with you as well." Lu Zixi gazed down at Lin Sheng, who was glaring at her with fierce intensity, her tone playfully malicious, embodying the essence of a wicked woman. "Bah, I have no need for your affection. Do not be so hasty in your declarations." As Lu Zixi spoke, she waved her hand at those around her. The four individuals paused momentarily before releasing Lin Sheng and exiting the room, closing the door behind them. Unbound, Lin Sheng surged forward, grasping Lu Zixi by the throat and pinning her down. "If you kill me, you shall perish as well." Lu Zixi regarded him with an amused expression, offering no resistance nor calling for help. "I am but a minor character. Should I perish, so be it. If I can exchange my life for your escape, it is worth it." Lin Sheng was not one to fear death easily. At that moment, bound and enraged by Lu Zixi's earlier actions, he channeled his fury into squeezing her throat. With his current strength, it would be effortless to extinguish her life. In mere moments, Lu Zixi's face turned purple and swollen, her once beautiful visage contorted, yet she continued to gaze at Lin Sheng with a smile, refusing to struggle or cry out. It was only when she was on the brink of death that her instincts compelled her to grasp Lin Sheng's hand, awakening him from his fury. prompting him to release her and slump to the side, trembling as he regarded his hands. Cough. Killing is not a pleasant endeavor. Being unable to do so does not imply weakness. Just as Lin Sheng was engulfed in self-doubt and loathing, Lu Zisha approached, rubbing her neck, her tone somewhat comforting. Hearing her words, Lin Sheng coldly raised his gaze to meet hers. Are you not afraid of death? Indeed, but I'm still alive, am I not? Lu Zisha smiled faintly, then crouched to meet Lin Sheng's eyes. Had I not been soft-hearted, had I not entered the palace, perhaps I could have lived quite well. She interrupted Lin Sheng's musings, her expression now serene, devoid of mirth. Were I a man, this world might very well belong to me. If my father were not merely a third-rank official, I might have led a stable and joyous life. Yet, in this world, how many ifs are there? Would you not agree? Lu Zisha's dark pupils sparkled like crystal, reflecting Lin Sheng's dazed expression. Chapter 7. Educating by Shuanglin, so assist me. Just as Lin Sheng was lost in contemplation of the philosophical undertones in Lu Zisha's words, she suddenly smiled at him and said, join me. Help me gather intelligence on Dugawugo. Once I secure her position as empress, I shall grant you a position just beneath one, yet above 10,000. Lu Zisha maintained her smile, yet her tone was unprecedentedly serious. Impossible. Lin Sheng rejected her without a moment's thought. Dugawugo was his beloved, and aiding her meant supporting Dugawugo. How could he possibly assist Lu Zisha, who had just humiliated him? However, as soon as Lin Sheng voiced his refusal, Lu Zisha placed her finger upon his lips and spoke. Do not be so quick to decline. You may not realize, or perhaps you have been deceived by Dugawugo. She is not a good person. Do you know how much blood is on her hands? You may currently believe she treats you well, considers you one of her own. But once she perceives that abandoning you could yield greater benefits, she will do so without hesitation. I can see that you are not one to simply go with the flow. Thus, collaborate with me, seize power for yourself, and no one will be able to abandon you or compel you into actions you do not desire. Lu Zisha's words were highly provocative, yet Lin Sheng simply responded, I trust her. That single statement shattered the smile from Lu Zisha's face. She darkened her expression and seized Lin Sheng's chin. On what grounds do you trust her? Do you believe her to be kind? Or do you think your interests are so substantial that she would never cast you aside? I trust her. Lin Sheng met El Shishish gaze unwaveringly. They locked eyes for a lengthy moment before Lu Zisha released him, her expression frosty. Very well. I shall see how long you can remain uncast aside by her. If you wish to observe, may I leave now? Where's the exit? You are free to depart at any time. Lu Zisha watched Lin Sheng as he made his exit. As she observed his retreating figure, she brought the finger that had previously touched him to her lips, licking it with her tongue, before breaking into a smile. You will come to seek me, Lu Zisha declared confidently, brushing her fingers over her reddened neck. Meanwhile, Lin Sheng, guided by the eunuchs and palace maids, returned to Fengigong. To his surprise, upon entering the hall, he found the previously unruly princess Zhaoyang kneeling in the center, her back straight. Beside her knelt another individual, sitting in the main seat. Dugawugo reclined languidly, her expression serene. Upon seeing Lin Sheng return, she straightened her posture and spoke without changing her countenance. You have returned. Come and see how they are being dealt with. Lin Sheng approached Dugawugo, glancing at the two kneeling figures, momentarily taken aback. The once arrogant princess Zhaoyang was frowning, tiny tears streaming down her cheeks, yet she emitted no sound. Most strikingly, a large, red handprint marred her left cheek. The other kneeling figure was none other than Shulan, who seemed relatively unscathed, her face dry and free of marks. As for Shulan, that was none of her concern. As for Princess Zhaoyang, she would have to sort it out herself. Lin Sheng expressed his opinion. Well, since you say so, Shulan, you may return. Dugawugo said with a slight nod. Thank you, Empress Xie. Thank you, Master Lin. Shulan bowed towards Dugawugo and Lin Sheng, then rose to return to her original position. With Shulan's matter resolved, the focus turned to Princess Zhaoyang. She too sensed Dugawugo's gaze and was immediately frightened, resembling a small beast startled by a sudden touch, weak and helpless. By my imperial decree, Princess Zhaoyang, by Shuanglin, is willful and lacks the demeanor befitting a princess. From tomorrow onward, she shall be instructed in etiquette by Lin Sheng, and I grant Lin Sheng the authority of the empress. During this instruction, Lin Sheng shall act as if I were personally present. If there is any disobedience, punishment shall be administered. Upon finishing, Dugu Wugo turned her gaze towards Lin Sheng, and Princess Xiaoyang could only bow in gratitude. All right, everyone may leave. After uttering these words, Dugu Wugo appeared fatigued and waved to those around her. Instantly, all the palace maids and eunuchs, except for Lin Sheng, departed the hall. Once they had all left, Dugu Wugo's expression lost its usual calmness. She immediately stood up and scrutinized Lin Sheng, reaching out to check on him. Are you all right? Did you sustain any injuries? Lin Sheng, seeing the concern in Dugu Wugo's eyes, smiled and embraced her, softly saying, I am unharmed. It was a woman named Lu Zisher who bound me. Lu Zisher, that vile woman. Hearing Lin Sheng's words, Dugu Wugo's concern for him transformed into fury towards Lu Zisher. She wanted me to join her in overthrowing you, promising that once she became empress, I would be elevated above all others. But I did not agree. As Lin Sheng spoke, he looked down into Dugu Wugo's eyes, which were equally attentive. After all, I am already above all others, and occasionally I find myself in a position even higher. After a moment of tender intimacy, Lin Sheng suddenly inquired of Dugu Wugo, You suggested I teach that Princess Xiaoyang, but I am not well versed in etiquette. She could teach me instead. Upon hearing Lin Sheng's words, Dugu Wugo helplessly explained to her bewildered husband, I did not intend for you to truly teach her etiquette. I wish for you to personally discipline her. Firstly, I see that aside from our affectionate moments, you have little to occupy your time, so I thought to provide you with a diversion. Secondly, I cannot always ensure your satisfaction. This young lady is quite pleasing to the eye, and since she has offended you, you may do as you wish with her. After hearing Dugu Wugo's words, Lin Sheng frowned at her. That is inappropriate. It is not a significant matter. A mere reprimand would suffice. Tormenting her is excessive, especially since she appears to be only 14 or 15. Do not fret, my dear. She is already 19, albeit slow to mature. In a normal household, she would already have several suitors. However, since you have expressed such sentiments, we may reconsider. Seeing Lin Sheng's strong opposition, Dugu Wugo acquiesced, deeming it unworthy to create discord over a mere Princess Xiaoyang with her beloved husband. However, if you wish to know, I do have someone I desire to torment. Lin Sheng suddenly exclaimed while holding Dugu Wugo. Please do not tell me it is I. Very well, if my husband desires it, I shall willingly submit to his whims. Dugu Wugo replied, leaning against Lin Sheng. How could I ever bear to torment you? I was referring to Lu Zisher. Lin Sheng chuckled as he held Dugu Wugo, recalling the incident where Lu Zisher had stepped on his face. Although he had nearly choked her in retaliation, he felt as though she had anticipated his every move, leaving him with an unsettling feeling of being manipulated by her. This woman irked him greatly, and upon hearing Dugu Wugo speak of tormenting Princess Xiaoyang, his thoughts immediately turned to Lu Zisher. What has she done to you? Dugu Wugo, upon hearing Lin Sheng's inquiry, assumed that Lu Zisher had harmed him, and her previously subdued anger surged once more. She has done nothing. I simply believe that if I could torment her freely, it would be quite delightful. Lin Sheng, of course, would not admit to being humiliated, as he cared for his pride. Oh, so you enjoy this? Dugu Wugo smiled slightly upon hearing this, then gently pushed Lin Sheng away. In the next moment, Lin Sheng noticed Dugu Wugo transform back into the imposing and dignified empress of the Dezhou dynasty, as she had been when they first met. Bold Lin Sheng, how dare you encroach upon my domain? Kneel and await the guards to escort you away. I shall leave you with a complete corpse. Initially taken aback, Lin Sheng soon broke into a lascivious grin, rubbing his hands together as he approached the formidable empress. Hee, since the guards are absent, what do you suppose will transpire next, your majesty? What do you intend to do? Dugu Wugo appeared startled, taking a step back as she glared at Lin Sheng. What do I intend to do? I wish to experience what it is like to be with the emperor's woman. Lin Sheng replied with a mischievous grin, lunging forward to hoist Dugu Wugo onto his shoulder and striding toward the bedroom at the back of the hall. You treacherous scoundrel! Release me, release me. Your Majesty, you have called me a treacherous scoundrel, so naturally, I must act as one. Please do not tear my clothes. The emperor enjoys his pleasures well. But now it is my turn. In the Yuning Palace, Lu Zisher delicately licked her fingers while listening to the news from Fengyi Palace, a smirk playing on her lips. It appears that Dugu Wugo has begun to win hearts, using a princess to win over a eunuch. This transaction is hardly worthwhile. Would you not agree? Qingro? Lu Zishi's gaze fell upon a palace made to her left, one of the two who had accompanied her to meet Lin Sheng previously. Your Highness, there is a saying in commerce. If something appears to have a higher cost than its returns, one must discern its deeper implications. The maid, named Qingro, bowed and spoke thus. Indeed, what hidden value might he possess? Lu Zishi remarked, licking her finger once more before setting it down, the flavor all but gone. The following day, Lin Sheng arose feeling invigorated, planting a gentle kiss on Dugu Wugo, who had fainted from their earlier role play, before dressing with the assistance of Ning Su and heading to Princess Xiaoyang's residence. It was no wonder that Princess Xiaoyang was so willful. She resided in her own courtyard, a rarity among princesses. However, she had now encountered an obstacle, and her previous favors were no longer effective. Lin Sheng observed the obedient princess Xiaoyang by Shuanglin, standing before him, and did not intend to make things overly difficult for her. He simply began, I shall not teach you the formalities of action, as I trust you have already learned them. I am here to instruct you in the etiquette of the mind. This was Lin Sheng's intention. Although Dugu Wugo's directive had been to do as he pleased, teaching or punishing as he saw fit, he still felt it necessary to educate this headstrong girl. Of course, this was not motivated by a desire to relive his own past sufferings. Yes, Bai Shuanglin replied respectfully, but her slightly trembling form indicated that she was still quite fearful. For she knew that all eunuchs were afflicted by ailments. Being in the hands of Lin Sheng, whom she had offended, she anticipated that she would either perish or suffer greatly. As for resistance, she harbored none, for it was the Empress's decree. The Empress, as a dual embodiment of imperial authority, held dominion over her progeny. Her formal edict could not be disregarded, even by the emperor himself. Thus, she could only acquiesce, trembling, to the tempest Lin Sheng was about to unleash upon her. Indeed, now recite after me. Wucha inji xin, farinya, wuxio eji xin. Fi zen yi, wuki zang zet house na, fi zen yi, wusi fi zet house na, fi zen yi. What do you mean, Recite it 10 times louder. If you do not recite it well, you shall repeat it 100 times. Oh, wucha inji xin, farinya, how could I forget? Did you not listen attentively to my words just now? How can you not memorize this? What will you do in the future? How will you report to the Empress? I shall recite it once more, and if you still cannot do it, you shall face the consequences. Soon, the courtyard of the Zhaoyang Gongju was filled with the resounding recitation of farinya in a loud voice, interspersed with Lin Sheng's furious reprimands. When Lu Zishu and Shen Yuanji arrived at the courtyard, they heard Lin Sheng's instructive tone. Wucha inji xin. Farinya implies that a person without compassion is not human. So what constitutes compassion? It is the first emotion that stirs within you upon witnessing a living being in peril. That is compassion. Upon hearing Lin Sheng's words, Lu Zishu and Shen Yuanji exhibited contrasting expressions. Lu Zishu's countenance shifted slightly, but upon recalling someone, she reverted to a smile. Shen Yuanji, however, gazed with adoration, clutching her chest. As they contemplated their thoughts, Lin Sheng's voice erupted in anger. What do you mean you have not felt it? If you have not experienced it, then are you even human? Speak. Are you human or not? Cry. You must declare it. Quickly. Are you human or not? As the two entered the courtyard, they beheld Lin Sheng furiously shouting at Bai Shuanglin, who was seated, pen in hand, scribbling something. Cough. Why must you be so irate in your teachings, Master Lin? Lu Zishu interjected, prompting Shen Yuanji to rush to Lin Sheng's side, seizing his hands and gazing at him adoringly. Master Lin, your words resonate so well. I cannot help but feel sorrow whenever I see others in pain. Could that be compassion? Please confirm. As she spoke, she guided Lin Sheng's hand to her heart. Chapter 8. The alliance of Lu Zishu and Shen Yuanji shatters. A new alliance emerges, everything unfolded rather rapidly, and Lin Sheng was caught off guard by Shen Yuanji's directness, resulting in her pulling his hand to rest upon her pale blue dress. The sensation of satisfaction and joy enveloped Shen Yuanji, leading her to involuntarily emit sounds of delight. Master Lin, do you feel my heart? Her cheeks flushed, her fingers danced like nimble fish through the gaps between Lin Sheng's fingers until they intertwined, prompting Lin Sheng's hand to bend and caress. All he could perceive was softness. This woman is quite enigmatic. Lin Sheng instinctively thought. Yet the hand grasped by Shen Yuanji slipped away without hesitation. Your Highness, please maintain your decorum. I would prefer you call me Yuanji or Zhe. Shen Yuanji, blushing, gazed affectionately at Lin Sheng as she spoke. Her boldness was unexpected for Lin Sheng, although he had sensed her influence from his golden touch. He had not anticipated that such a beauty from Jiangnan would lack the region's usual subtlety, stirring a slight flutter in his heart. After all, a cultured beauty aligns with Lin Sheng's aesthetic sensibilities. Meanwhile, Bai Shuanglin, who was busy transcribing Lin Sheng's notes, gazed at the scene in a daze. Her first thought being that her father had been deceived. Her second thought was whether Lin Sheng, a eunuch, was indeed capable of such treachery against the emperor. Finally, she wondered if she might face dire consequences for her observations. Having learned from Dugawugo's experience, she realized that although she appeared noble as a princess, she held little significance in the vast harem. If she were to fall into the water, few would care. Now, knowing that the favored eunuch beside Dugawugo was suspected of an illicit affair with one of the four consorts, she suddenly felt as if she were on the brink of disaster. As for Lu Zishu, who had accompanied Shen Yuanji, she initially wore an expression of amusement at Lin Sheng's expense, but her demeanor darkened instantly as she approached to speak. Master Lin, you possess such profound knowledge. My lady and I have greatly benefited from your teachings to the Zhaoyang Gongzhu. Lu Zishu's arrival snapped Lin Sheng out of his reverie regarding Shen Yuanji. In contrast, Shen Yuanji shot a discontented glare at Lu Zishu for disrupting her plans. Lin Sheng's direct engagement was a blend of her emotional and rational strategy. On one hand, ever since she had encountered Lin Sheng in Fengyi Palace, thoughts of him had consumed her. Even as she painted his portrait for relief, she found her longing intensifying. Thus, when she held his hand just now, it was an impulsive act of seizing the moment. On the other hand, after realizing that Lin Sheng might not be wholly resistant to her advances, she decided to boldly pursue him, achieving remarkable results. However, she never anticipated that Lu Zishu would so brazenly intrude, and her resentment for Lu Zishu now rivaled that of Dugawugo's claim on Lin Sheng. Lu Zishu, unfazed by Shen Yuanji's resentful gaze, showed no remorse for interrupting her, even if it meant creating an enemy. Lin Sheng must be hers. With that thought, Lu Zishu suddenly felt a tingle on her tongue, yearning for something sweet. Her gaze shifted to Lin Sheng's face and lips. Cough, your grace, you flatter me. Lin Sheng coughed tactically and addressed Lu Zishu. Oh, not at all. Master Lin, your knowledge is profound. I have some questions that I find perplexing. May I invite you to discuss them in private? Shen Yuanji stepped forward, extending the invitation. Internally, she could hardly contain her delight. If Lin Sheng were to visit her, she could do as she pleased, unrestrained even by Dugawugo. Why not pose your inquiries here? I am curious about what could possibly stump the daughter of the illustrious Shen Zaixiang. Lu Zishu interjected, inquiring on Lin Sheng's behalf. Shen Yunji's expression darkened as she regarded Lu Zishu, who maintained a smile, yet her gaze was as calm as still water. This question is somewhat private. I cannot discuss it here. I presume, as the daughter of Lu Shangshu, you have never encountered such a dilemma. Hence, I would appreciate your discretion. Shen Yuanji initiated the offensive, warning Lu Zishu. Is that so? Since it is a matter you have yet to encounter, I doubt Master Lin could resolve it alone. Why not let the esteemed consort share it, so we may all ponder solutions together? Lu Zishu retorted, unafraid of Shen Yuanji's glare. In the charged exchange of their gazes, sparks could almost be seen. Just then, Ningsu approached, initially surprised to see Shen Yuanji and Lu Zishu, but quickly composed herself as she neared Lin Sheng. Master Lin, the Empress has summoned you. You are to return to Fengyi Palace. A wet nurse will soon arrive to address the etiquette concerns of the Zhaoyang Gongzhu. Very well. Let's go. Lin Sheng responded without hesitation, rising to depart. However, before leaving, he cast a glance at Lu Zishu and Shen Yuanji, then vanished from the courtyard of Zhaoyang Gongzhu. Once Lin Sheng departed, Shen Yuanji turned a stern face to Lu Zishu, confronting her. Lu Zishu, what do you mean by this? Did I not say I would help you take down Dugawugo? Do you wish to break our agreement? Bai Shuanglin lowered her head, trembling as she took notes, quietly murmuring, I heard nothing. Oh, at that moment, you did not clarify who the desired person was. I mistakenly thought it was someone else. Now he has become mine, yet he cannot be considered as a person of pure virtue. How can this be deemed a breach of contract? Lu Zishu gazed at Shen Yuanji in astonishment, as if she had just realized that the person Shen Yuanji coveted was Lin Sheng. You are talking nonsense. When did he become yours? Well, since you do not honor your word, do not blame me. Shen Yuanji glared at Lu Zishu and, with a final harsh remark, turned and left the scene. After Shen Yuanji departed, Lu Zishu's gaze fell upon by Shuanglin, who sat there wishing to vanish. Shuanglin. Lu Zishu's call startled by Shuanglin, causing her to shiver. Lu Inyang. Bai Shuanglin looked up at Lu Zishu, revealing a smile that was on the verge of tears. Shuanglin, I know you are a good child, just a little mischievous. Now, study well with Lin Gonggong. I will come to see you whenever I have time, all right? Yes. Thank you, Inyang. Bai Shuanglin nodded vigorously, fearing that a delayed response might lead to her being dismissed by Lu Zishu. Ah, such a good child. With that, Lu Zishu also exited the area. Once Lu Zishu was gone, Bai Shuanglin trembled as she finally released the tightly clenched pen in her hand, pressing her palm against her chest to steady her racing heart. However, the thought of facing such scenes in the future brought her to the brink of tears. Little did she know that the events she dreaded would repeatedly unfold before her, yet they remained mere figments of her imagination. For she would never again see Lin Sheng to be instructed in etiquette. The reason, of course, was that Dugawugu had summoned Lin Sheng over. Lin Sheng, what brings you back? Lin Sheng returned to Fengyi Palace and naturally called Dugawugu's name in inquiry. However, in the next moment, instead of an explanation, he was met with a soft embrace. Lin Sheng instinctively wrapped his arms around the approaching Dugawugu. Husband, in the 7 hours since you left, Wugu has awakened feeling quite bored. I do not wish to be apart from you. Listening to Dugawugu's playful tone, Lin Sheng could only smile helplessly and respond. I miss you too. Bai Shuanglin is rather foolish, and I have no desire to teach her any longer. How about I accompany you from now on? Yes. As Dugawugu spoke, her hands began to wander restlessly around Lin Sheng. Do not be mischievous. Can you handle it? Lin Sheng said with a hint of exasperation, grasping her hands. But husband, you've reacted. At worst, we can call Shulan over. After all, she lost you last time, so this can serve as her punishment. Hearing Dugawugu's words, Lin Sheng's mind wandered to Shen Yuanji, for both Shen Yuanji and Shulan were of similar beauty, with Shen Yuanji being slightly more exquisite. Thus, Lin Sheng did not refuse this time. Very well. Meanwhile, in another part of the palace, at Baiqing Palace, another imperial concubine named Xu Zhaohua, who was the cousin of the Zhao Wangfei Buruyi, was entertaining her. Ruyi, did you come to see me suddenly for the Zhao Wang's matters? Xu Zhaohua chatted with Buruyi as if discussing everyday affairs. She had heard some whispers regarding the Zhao Wang's recent troubles, but as a mere concubine, she did not feel it appropriate to speak much on the matter. However, if Buruyi had come to seek her assistance personally, she would not mind lending a hand, especially since they were relatives and Buruyi's father was the Duke of England. No, it's not about him, Xu Jiejia. I have come to ask for your help with something. Buruyi shook her head, expressing her disinterest in the Zhao Wang's affairs, believing it would be best if he were to perish. This way, once she brought Lin Sheng back to the Zhao Wang's residence, she could act more freely. Not about him. Then what do you need my assistance with? Xu Zhaohua asked, puzzled. Xu Jiejia, do you desire to become the empress? Buruyi's words caused Xu Zhaohua's expression to change drastically, and she lowered her voice, pulling Buruyi close. Do not speak such nonsense. Xu Jiejia, I am serious. I can help you overthrow Dugawugu, but I require a condition, Buruyi said earnestly, regarding Xu Zhaohua with a serious expression. Seeing Buruyi's earnestness, Xu Zhaohua felt a stir of ambition within her. If she lacked ambition, she would not have sought to secure her position as a concubine, knowing full well that there were only 2 such positions in the palace. If she could gain Buruyi's assistance, especially from the Duke of England's side, she might truly have a plan. What do you want? She inquired. The eunuch Lin Sheng, who was by Dugawugu's side. Upon hearing Buruyi's declaration, Xu Zhaohua suddenly came to a realization. It was common knowledge that recently, the palace had been abuzz with gossip about Lin Sheng receiving the empress's favor, a fact she was well aware of as a concubine. What makes him so special? Xu Zhaohua questioned. Buruyi slightly shook her head and replied, as long as you agree, Xu Jiejia, I will do everything in my power to help you ascend to the position of empress. Seeing Buruyi's reluctance to divulge more, Xu Zhaohua pondered. Regardless of what made Lin Sheng extraordinary, It could not compare to the position of empress. A mere eunuch could be sacrificed for such an opportunity. All right, as long as you can assist me, I would gladly give up not just one eunuch, but even 100. I only desire him, Bu Ruyi declared firmly. Understood. Xu Zhaohua nodded, thus solidifying their alliance. However, one could not help but reflect upon the enmity that had arisen between the two due to Lin Sheng. How long could they truly collaborate? At this moment, Lin Sheng was diligently toiling away. Soon, the following day arrived, and Lin Sheng awoke feeling refreshed, only to see Ning Su rushing in. Lin Gonggong, Lu Guifei has insisted on seeing the empress. Upon hearing Ning Su's words, Lin Sheng instinctively glanced at Dugawugu, who lay fast asleep in bed, and frowned. Was it not said that the empress is unwell and unable to receive guests? It was stated, but Lin Sheng realized that Lu Zishu was being deliberately provocative, and he understood that she was targeting him. It was not vanity on Lin Sheng's part. Rather, he had noticed the attraction Lu Zishu had towards him the previous day, though she had not shown it before. I will go and see. If it does not work out, I shall wake Wugu, Lin Sheng said, allowing Ningsu to assist him in dressing before proceeding to the hall. Upon arriving, Ji Yin, who was already present, was momentarily taken aback upon noticing that Dugawugu was absent, yet remained silent. Lu Zishu, upon seeing only Lin Sheng, felt a tinge of confusion but did not reveal it. The other concubines, however, immediately understood why Lin Sheng received Dugawugu's favor. If they were in her place, they too would shower him with affection. They could not help but wonder if the empress would allow this eunuch to be shared among them. As Lin Sheng entered the hall, he was greeted by a sea of beautiful women, and he could not help but marvel at the emperor's good fortune. His gaze quickly found Lu Zishu, seated closest to the main seat on the right side. Lu Zishu smiled and shared a knowing glance with Lin Sheng. Ladies, the empress has recently caught a chill and is unable to receive guests. You may all return for now. Once she recovers, she will summon you. Lin Sheng addressed the gathered women. Most of the concubines immediately replied that it was of no concern, remaining in their seats and unwilling to leave, collectively desiring to steal a few more glances at Lin Sheng. This led to a situation where no one in the hall departed. You all should take your leave. I have some matters to discuss with the empress. Lu Zishu interjected, asserting her authority as the highest-ranking concubine in the absence of the empress. At her command, several reluctant concubines rose from their seats, while the upper-tier concubines remained unmoved. Among them was Xin Yuanji, one of the 4 favored concubines, who was unafraid of Lu Zishu. For instance, Su Guifei, Su Zhaohua, who holds the same rank as Lu Zishu, is backed by a general father and a host of military relatives, which renders her unafraid of Lu Zishu. Thus, in the Grand Hall, only Lu Zishu, Shun Yuanji, Su Zhaohua, and a concubine sitting opposite Xin Yuanji, who also appears to be one of the 4 consorts, remain. Lin Sheng's gaze first falls upon Su Zhaohua, who is adorned in a brocade robe with a jade belt. Her posture exudes a robust demeanor, unlike the other consorts who appear delicate and gentle, instead revealing the valiant spirit characteristic of a military family. With her sword-like brows and twinkling eyes, she possesses a sharpness that is subtly evident. Her makeup is minimal, yet her fair complexion and beauty stand out, devoid of the roughness typical of martial practitioners, suggesting she has been well cared for. In response to Lin Sheng's scrutinizing gaze, she does not shy away, but rather surveys him with her keen eyes, ultimately displaying a look of satisfaction and appreciation. Although Lin Sheng is uncertain of her motives, he reciprocates with a faint smile before shifting his attention to the concubine across from Shun Yuanji. Upon first seeing this concubine, Lin Sheng perceives her as a more refined version of Ji Yin, sharing a similar scholarly aura and the same indifferent expression. However, her stoicism is more pronounced, as Lin Sheng has not witnessed any change in her facial expressions since his arrival, aside from her gaze occasionally drifting towards him. She is clad in a moon-white silk robe, embroidered with pale blue lotus patterns, her brows delicately shaped, lips red and teeth white, sitting silently yet attentively, her gaze fixated on him since he entered. Your Highnesses, is there something you wish to discuss? Lin Sheng inquires after observing the scene, his eyes landing on Lu Zishu. Sensing her impending challenge, as anticipated, upon the completion of Lin Sheng's question, Lu Zishu parts her coral red lips, her mouth curving into a familiar feigned smile directed at him. I have heard that Her Majesty the Empress has caught a chill and has refused to see anyone aside from her personal maid and eunuch Lin. This cannot continue. As the matriarch of the inner palace, her prolonged illness is untenable. Therefore, I have specifically sought out a renowned physician from the common folk, who might uncover the ailment that the esteemed imperial physician Gao has failed to diagnose. There's no need for that. Her Majesty has taken the medicine prescribed by imperial physician Gao, and her condition has improved. I express my gratitude on behalf of Her Majesty for your concern, Your Highness. Ning su interjects, addressing Lu Sisi. It would be prudent to take a look, ensuring everyone's peace of mind. If eunuch Lin remains unconvinced, he is welcome to accompany me to Yuning Palace for a consultation regarding Her Majesty. Lu Zisher quickly reveals her intentions. Lin Sheng observes Lu Zisher, noting the determination in her eyes. But before he can respond, Shen Yuanji interjects, "You've been informed that Her Majesty's condition is improving. Why persist in seeking treatment for Her Majesty and insisting on visiting Yuning Palace? Do you harbor some ulterior motive against Her Majesty?" Upon hearing Shen Yuanji's words, Lu Zisher remains unfazed, merely turning to regard her. "What do you mean, Lady Shufei? I'm simply concerned for Her Majesty's health. As for inviting eunuch Lin to Yuning Palace, it is merely to assess the abilities of that physician. After all, eunuch Lin is well-versed and can determine whether Her Majesty requires a follow-up examination. At that point, I could bring the physician along to treat Her Majesty, achieving a twofold benefit. Eunuch Lin, I have another question for you." At this moment, the silent, expressionless beauty, concubine Gu Changyan, sitting opposite Shen Yuanji, addresses Lin Sheng. "This is concubine Gu." Lin Sheng acknowledges her with a nod, prompted by Ning Su. Without compassion, one is not human. Without a sense of shame, one is not human. Without the spirit of humility, one is not human. Without discernment of right and wrong, one is not human. These are the words I heard from the lady-in-waiting who teaches etiquette to Princess Xiao. She said they were taught to her by you, eunuch Lin. Indeed, Lin Sheng affirms, finding no shame in admitting it. Why are these four attributes deemed essential for humanity? Gu Changyan questions him, her face still bearing the same impassive expression. Because, as human beings, we ought to possess compassion, a sense of shame, humility, and discernment. Without compassion, the world would lack warmth. One would become indifferent to the suffering of others, even if they were family or friends, resulting in a deeply self-serving existence, calculating every gain and loss. Without a sense of shame, there would be no moral compass, leading one to commit wrongful acts without remorse, ultimately becoming a creature devoid of boundaries, living solely for desire. Without humility, there would be no order of courtesy. Self-centeredness would prevail, leaving no room for unity or friendship, potentially inciting conflict and disrupting harmony. Without discernment, the boundaries between right and wrong would vanish. One would lose the ability to judge, blindly following others' distorted perceptions, ultimately losing their way and becoming an accomplice on a misguided path. As Lin Sheng articulates these thoughts, a look of excitement and joy brightens his face, as though he feels his well-rehearsed words have finally found their purpose. Observing Lin Sheng's enthusiastic demeanor, Gu Changyan's typically impassive face reveals a slight fluctuation, though it is too subtle for others to notice. She nods at him. "I see. I have learned much. Eunuch Lin, should you have time in the future, please visit Mo Yunjiu, and we can converse further." After saying this, she rises, bows to Lu Zisher and Su Zhaohua, and departs. Since that is the case, I shall take my leave as well. Eunuch Lin, you are indeed a remarkable person. You're always welcome in my Baiqing Palace. After Gu Changyan's exit, Su Zhaohua, seated opposite Lu Zisher, also stands to bid farewell, smiling as she addresses Lin Sheng before striding away. With the departure of these two, only Lu Zisher and Shen Yuanji remain in the hall. Eunuch Lin, I have a few matters to discuss with Lady Shufei and would like to invite you to Yuning Palace, Lu Zisher states, her expression revealing a sense of triumph. To Lin Sheng's surprise, Shen Yuanji does not attempt to counter Lu Zisher this time, remaining silent. As Lin Sheng prepares to decline the invitation, wary of Lu Zisher's intentions, she seems to anticipate his refusal and interjects. Eunuch Lin, it would be best for you to agree. Otherwise, we will have no choice but to seek out Her Majesty ourselves to request your presence. I believe Her Majesty would consent. She adds a significant glance at Lin Sheng, hoping he would comply. Otherwise, should she manage to undermine Dugawugo or gain control over Lin Sheng, she would not hesitate to exact severe retribution upon him. Very well. But instead of Yining Palace, how about we meet at Jingxin Lake? Lin Sheng contemplates, realizing he must discern Lu Zishi's true intentions while ensuring he remains in a location where Wugo can provide immediate support. He believes Jingxin Lake, located to the northeast of Fengyi Palace, is a suitable choice. Excellent. Lu Zishi agrees without hesitation, as her intentions are not malicious. She merely wishes for Lin Sheng to recognize that following her away from Wugo is the wisest choice. Not now, how about after lunch? Lin Sheng ultimately decides to exercise caution, planning to inform Wugo before meeting with Lu Zishi. After a moment of silence, Lu Zishi reveals a seductive smile, her lips parting. Very well. I bid farewell to the two esteemed ladies. Lin Sheng bows respectfully as he sees them off, observing Lin Sheng's eagerness to depart. Lu Zishi's gaze towards him grows increasingly perilous. It appears that some individuals have become overly complacent, necessitating a gentle correction from her. However, this situation may ultimately serve to engrave her mark even more deeply within him. With this thought in mind, Lu Zishi rose to leave Fengyi Palace alongside Shen Yuanji. At the last moment of their departure, Shen Yuanji turned to glance at Lin Sheng, hesitated for a moment, and then pursed her lips before following Lu Zishi out. Once they exited Fengyi Palace, Shen Yuanji could no longer restrain herself and questioned Lu Zishi, a hint of accusation in her gaze. What you told me earlier, that once we overthrow Wugo, Lin Sheng will indeed be mine, right? Lu Zishi regarded the foolish woman questioning her with a slight smile and replied, of course. How could a mere eunuch compare to the esteemed position of a consort? I will grant you what you desire, but you must assist me wholeheartedly and avoid any slip-ups. Shen Yuanji fixed her gaze on Lu Zishi, her expression turning icy as she warned, I will certainly do my utmost to support you, but you had best adhere to our agreement. My patience is not boundless, and I will not tolerate a repeat of last time. With that, she departed towards her residence. Zai Fengju, a foolish woman with ample bosom, yet little wit. I never specified when or for how long I would grant it to you. Now that she has ascended to the position of empress, she must enjoy the finest things. Lu Zishi chuckled to herself as she watched Shen Yuanji's retreating figure before turning towards Yining Palace. Meanwhile, Meng Yuqing, who had been silently following Shen Yuanji, finally broke her silence when it was just the two of them. Your Highness, are we truly going to conspire with that sinister eunuch? Indeed, sinister eunuch was how Meng Yuqing characterized Lin Sheng. Having grown up alongside Shen Yuanji, her education was top-notch, and having entered the palace with Shen Yuanji, she quickly discerned that every concubine they had encountered today had been completely captivated by Lin Sheng. Was that not sufficiently sinister? Thus, she was eager to dissuade her mistress from pursuing Lin Sheng, especially in collaboration with someone as perilous as Lu Zishi. Meng Yuqing, I hope you will refrain from speaking of him in such a manner again. Upon hearing Meng Yuqing's words, Shen Yuanji halted her steps, casting a cold glance at her, causing Meng Yuqing to shiver involuntarily, enveloped by an unsettling chill. Lu Zishi was a woman of immense ambition. She desired the empress's position, and Shen Yuanji feared that Lin Sheng would not escape her grasp either. Collaboration? Thankfully, Shen Yuanji merely shot Meng Yuqing a warning glance before coolly beginning to analyze Lu Zishi. Upon hearing Shen Yuanji's words, Meng Yuqing sighed in relief. Realizing that Shen Yuanji would not pursue the matter further, she cautiously inquired, then why do you wish to collaborate with her? The answer was clear. Despite the dangers posed by Lu Zishi, her capabilities were undeniably impressive. Truth be told, in terms of capability, Shen Yuanji could not measure up to her, thus necessitating Lu Zishi's assistance in strategizing and diverting attention. After much contemplation, it seemed that Lu Zishi was the most suitable ally. After all, the imperial harem was merely another facet of the political arena. With her father serving as the prime minister, she was naturally unable to mingle with the likes of Su Zhaohua. Within the literati circle, only Gu Changyan, whose father was a grand tutor, and Lu Zishi, whose father was a third-rank minister, could provide her with assistance. Gu Changyan, a mere bookworm, was even less adept at playing the game of wits than Shen Yuanji herself, leaving Lu Zishi as the only viable option. Your Highness, are you suggesting that we let her charge forth while we benefit from the chaos in the rear? Meng Yuqing asked excitedly, finally acknowledging that her mistress was returning to serious matters. Do not delude yourself. I have no interest in the position of empress. I only desire the man. Shen Yuanji immediately discerned Meng Yuqing's thoughts and shattered her fantasies with a single statement. Why? Facing Meng Yuqing's question, Shen Yuanji sighed, then replied, have I not already stated that in terms of capability, I am inferior to Lu Zishu? I require her to lead the charge, for while she is formidable, she is not omniscient. What I seek is to seize Lin Sheng during her struggle for the position of empress, ensuring a stable life for myself. If I were to also aspire to the position, it would not only invite Lu Zishu's ire, but also that of Wugo and the entire harem. I would surely be unable to withstand such an onslaught. With that, a youthful smile blossomed on her face. Yuqing, do you know? I once thought my life's aim was to ascend to the empress's position and become the most revered woman in the world. Then I entered the palace and met the emperor, who was so handsome and charming that it reinforced my desire to become empress. Even when I realized that I might not possess the ability to retain my position like Wugo or Lu Zishu, I continued to fight for it, believing it was my life's goal. But then, on that fateful day when I attempted to gauge Wugo in Fengyi Palace, I met him. Do you understand? The very moment I laid eyes on him, I realized that all notions of the most exalted status and the emperor's favored consort were merely self-deceiving fantasies that arose when I was lost in my life's purpose. Living alongside him, even if he is a eunuch, even if he cannot bear children, as long as I love him and am with him, that is my true life's goal. Whether he loves me in return is of no consequence. Chapter 10. The confrontation at Jingxin Lake. As Meng Yuqing listened to Shen Yuanji's heartfelt declaration, she felt somewhat dazed, pondering a question that arose in her mind. Does true, all-consuming love at first sight genuinely exist, even if the object of affection is fundamentally flawed? So, Yuqing. Shen Yuanji suddenly grasped Meng Yuqing's arms, startling her from a reverie, compelling her to meet Shen Yuanji's earnest gaze. Do you understand now? This is what you cannot comprehend. Why I no longer desire to be the empress. For I have found what I truly seek. Observing Shen Yuanji's fervent and solemn demeanor, Meng Yuqing still could not grasp this emotion, yet she was willing to assist her. Just as she had resolutely followed Shen Yuanji in the past to vie for the empress's position. Meanwhile, on the other side, among the first of the concubines to depart Fengyi Palace, there was a frail beauty, her complexion pale. Your Highness, given your condition, why must you insist on going to Fengyi Palace? A concerned maid supported the ailing beauty, gently guiding her to rest upon the bed. Cough, cough, it's nothing. With so many significant events unfolding in the harem recently, if I do not witness them firsthand, I may find myself unprepared when they inevitably affect us. But isn't it merely that Wugo has taken a new favorite among the eunuchs? What makes that such a great matter? The maid was perplexed, feeling her mistress was overreacting, risking her health for what seemed to be a trivial issue. If her mistress were to perish as a result, the Su family's lineage would be irrevocably severed, and she could not escape the blame. No, cough, cough, this visit is not in vain, indeed. A significant event is about to transpire in the harem. Luma, please refrain from calling me your highness from now on. That is a thing of the past, and it would not be wise for others to overhear. The frail beauty recalled her recent realizations, her excitement bubbling forth, prompting her caretaker to look at her with renewed concern as she urged the maid to adjust her form of address. Yes, talented lady, first take your medicine from today. Lu Ma's eyes flashed with resentment, though it was directed at others, yet she still brought a bowl of medicine to the frail beauty. Gulf, gulf, Lu Ma. Do you think I should continue the Su family's lineage? The ailing beauty suddenly lifted her gaze to Lu Ma, posing a question that hung heavily in the air. But ever since that incident, the emperor has. Lu Momo, upon hearing the frail beauty's words, instinctively opened her mouth, only to realize the implication behind them. She then quietly gazed at her and inquired, cough, must I uphold my loyalty to the Bai family after such deeds? The frail beauty replied with a cold smirk, indeed. Why should I remain faithful to him? Hearing this, Lu Momo's eyes turned icy as she spoke. Absolutely, it should be this way. Just wait. I will find dozens of men for you. Lu Ma, that is unnecessary. I am not a licentious woman. I merely feel that my days are numbered and wish to leave a legacy for the Su family. The frail beauty replied with a hint of resignation. Lu Momo, feeling a pang of embarrassment at her words, soon fell silent, her gaze fixed on the frail beauty. whose complexion was as pale as paper and whose frame resembled that of a withered branch, stirring a sense of unease within her. Cough. There is no need for such drastic measures, Luma. I can see for myself that my time is limited. Rather than perish in the palace, allowing the Su family's lineage to extinguish, I would prefer to bear a child before my demise, thus ensuring the continuation of their bloodline and avenging the Bai family in the process. The frail beauty spoke with a smile, attempting to comfort the tearful Lu Momo. My dear girl, tell me what you desire, and I shall certainly procure it for you, Lu Momo declared, her expression a blend of sorrow and determination. Cough, cough. Let us not rush. Let me recover a bit before we proceed. If I were to conceive now, the child might not survive the ordeal, the frail beauty replied, shaking her head. Yes, yes, focus on your recovery. Meanwhile, in Fengyi Palace, Lin Sheng, after bidding farewell to Lu Zisher and Shen Yuanji, returned to his chamber and affectionately patted the ample form of Dugawugo. My husband. Dugawugo, groggily opening her eyes, beamed a naive smile upon seeing Lin Sheng by her bedside. Just now, Lu Zisher stirred trouble with the concubines of the harem. What does that wretched woman intend? Lin Sheng exclaimed. The moment the words left his lips, Dugawugo, fully alert, propped herself up, only for her arms to succumb to fatigue and collapse. Fortunately, Lin Sheng was there to catch her in his embrace. The movement startled Shulan, who had fainted from her first labor, causing her to emit muffled sounds without awakening. I know not her intentions, yet she summoned me to Yuning Palace, Lin Sheng stated, holding Dugawugo close. We cannot go, Dugawugo declared without a moment's hesitation. Indeed, I share your sentiment. However, if she continues her schemes, we must ascertain her motives. Thus, I propose to her that we meet at Jingxin Lake after lunch. Lin Sheng replied, promising to accompany her. Very well. Together, we shall confront Lu Zisher and uncover her true intentions. Lin Sheng accepted, fully aware of his limitations in the realm of cunning. He opted to let the more astute players navigate the treacherous waters of intrigue. Yes, Dugawugo exclaimed, her face lighting up at Lin Sheng's agreement. What has you so elated? Lin Sheng inquired, gently stroking her cheek. Because my husband trusts me, she responded with a radiant smile. Isn't that only natural? Lin Sheng countered playfully, feeling the weight of his responsibilities as her husband. Hearing his response, Dugawugo felt a sweetness surpassing that of 100 jars of honey fill her heart, alongside a rush of unexpected emotions. She leaned closer, wrapping her arms around Lin Sheng's neck, gazing into his eyes as she said, Husband, I love you dearly. Will you love me in return? That may not be appropriate, as we have yet to meet Lu Zisher, Lin Sheng replied, aware that indulging in such intimacy before their encounter could lead to complications. It is precisely because we are to meet her that we should do this. Dugawugo whispered something suggestive into Lin Sheng's ear, causing his lips to curl into a smile as he playfully swatted her away. You are incorrigible. Husband, love me. Dugawugo playfully pushed Lin Sheng, initiating a moment of mischief. As noon approached, Lin Sheng, accompanied by Dugawugo, Ning Su, and Jiyan, arrived at the wooden pavilion in the center of Jingxin Lake. Lin Sheng carefully supported Dugawugo, appearing to outsiders as if she was still recovering from illness and needed assistance. However, he knew it was merely due to her having overeaten at lunch, leaving her feeling overly full and in need of support. I did not expect the Empress to come personally for a mere eunuch while in such poor health. Your maternal grace is truly beyond compare, Lu Zisher remarked, observing the pair as they approached, first bowing before Dugawugo and then casting a discreet glance at Lin Sheng. Others do not enjoy such privileges. But Lin Sheng is mine. Naturally, I must take special care of him, Dugawugo asserted as she took her seat at the head of the table. What do you mean by that, Your Majesty? I merely wish to consult Lin Gonggong about some matters. Your words imply that I would harm him. Your protectiveness is rather excessive. Lu Zisher feigned innocence, yet did not anticipate Dugawugo's retort. I certainly believe you would harm Lin Sheng, considering you have already kidnapped him once, have you not? Dugawugo's words caused Lu Zisher's expression to shift dramatically. Before Lu Zisher could respond, Dugawugo continued. Lu Guifei, I wonder when you gained the audacity to brazenly abduct my people? Dugawugo's gaze was as frosty as her words. Your Majesty, you jest. How could I possibly do such a thing? Lu Zisher replied, her demeanor regaining composure. I am fully aware you would deny it, which is why I brought forth a witness. Dugu Wugo declared, signaling Jian to present a badly injured eunuch before them. As the eunuch approached, Lin Sheng's expression changed subtly. It was not merely recognizing him as one of the two eunuchs he had previously encountered with Lu Zixi, but rather the state of his hands. Nonetheless, Lin Sheng chose to remain silent despite his discomfort. Do you recognize this person, Lu Guifei? Of course, he is my servant, Xiao Cheng. I did not expect the Empress to capture him as a witness. Lu Zixi replied, her face hardening as she averted her gaze from Dugu Wugo. What? Still wishing to argue? Why not ask him what he has told me? Dugu Wugo challenged Lu Zixi, who was still in denial. I have already stated that it was Lu Guifei who commanded me to strike Lin Gonggong and bring him to Yuning Palace. The eunuch exclaimed, pleading for mercy. Hearing his confession, Dugu Wugo smiled triumphantly, while Lu Zixi's previously composed expression turned icy. Xiao Cheng, I do not know who has coerced you or if you have lost your senses, but how dare you make such accusations against me? I have treated you well. Upon hearing Lu Zixi's words, the eunuch, who had been incessantly accusing her, suddenly fell silent and erupted into a frenzied laugh. Ha ha ha, it was me, it was she, it was he, they all did it. The eunuch laughed maniacally, gesturing wildly at those around him, eventually darting about like a madman, incessantly repeating that it was he who had done it. Yet, in his frantic movements, he managed to avoid the likes of Dugu Wugo and Lu Zixi, choosing instead to run in vacant spaces. Your Majesty, it seems that Xiao Chengzi has truly lost his mind, Lu Zixi remarked, her expression finally calming as she observed the frenzied eunuch. Dugu Wugo, however, regarded Lu Zixi with a smile, as if watching a grand performance, and then spoke. If he is mad, then let him be killed. Lin Sheng discreetly nudged Dugu Wugo, suggesting, cast him out of the palace, and let him fend for himself. Dugu Wugo promptly acquiesced. This exchange did not escape Lu Zixi's notice, yet she said nothing, for she had fallen into a passive position following Xiao Chengzi's capture. Any further action would only lead to her own downfall. At that moment, a sudden exclamation from a palace made pierce the air. The princess has fallen into the water. The once tranquil Jingxin Lake erupted with ripples, revealing a figure thrashing about in the water, clearly in a state of panic, soon losing strength and ceasing to struggle. A group of palace maids and eunuchs shouted anxiously about the princess's predicament. At that instant, a figure dashed over the railing to the corridor and leaped into the water. This individual was none other than Lin Sheng, who had sprung into action at the first sound of someone falling in. Upon entering the water, he swiftly swam over, extending a hand to embrace her, lifting her above the surface while his other hand and feet propelled him through the water to provide buoyancy. The unconscious girl was exceedingly heavy, and only Lin Sheng's enhanced physical abilities, a result of his dual cultivation, allowed him to prevent both of them from succumbing to the depths. Do not move, I will bring you to shore, Lin Sheng said to her, regardless of whether she could hear him, and began swimming toward the bank. Fortunately, everything proceeded smoothly. Lin Sheng successfully reached the shore and quickly laid the woman on the ground. After checking her nose and mouth to ensure no obstruction, he placed his hands on her chest and commenced CPR, leaning down to administer rescue breaths. Lin Sheng was uncertain if he was following the correct procedure, having only seen such actions performed online, yet he hoped that her fate rested on his efforts. Fortunately, the woman proved resilient after the third rescue breath. She expelled a mouthful of water, followed by a series of weak coughs, eventually beginning to breathe faintly. Meanwhile, a group led by Dugu Wugo hurried over. Is everything all right? Dugu Wugo inquired, trying to maintain composure amidst the crowd, her gaze fixed on Lin Sheng. I am unharmed, and she should be as well. But we ought to summon the imperial physician to examine her, Lin Sheng replied, observing the drenched woman lying on the ground, her breath faint. The imperial physician arrived promptly. First, let me examine Lin Sheng. Dugu Wugo directed the approaching physician, pointing at Lin Sheng. Although Lin Sheng appeared untroubled, Dugu Wugo was not convinced and sought to ensure his well-being. Yes, the physician, under the queen's command, dared not hesitate. He approached Lin Sheng, observed him briefly, and then requested him to extend his arm for a pulse diagnosis. Lin Sheng complied, despite feeling it unnecessary, but since Dugu Wugo had insisted, he set aside his pride. Upon checking Lin Sheng's pulse, the physician was momentarily taken aback, then regarded Lin Sheng with disbelief, prompting frowns from Wugo and Lu Zishu. "What is the matter?" Wugo questioned the physician, who then regained his composure and spoke. "Your Majesty, this eunuch's pulse is robust, and his health is impeccable. In fact, he is stronger than the average person." The physician's words elicited a sigh of relief from Wugo, though she chided him, "If there is nothing amiss, you need only state it directly instead of pondering for so long." "Ah, this humble servant lacks skill, which is why I sought further confirmation," the physician explained, bowing his head in apology. "Enough, go attend to her." Wugo waved him off, directing him to examine the submerged by Shuanglin. Indeed, the princess who had fallen into the water was by Shuanglin. Since the incident involving Lu Zishu and Shun Yuanji competing for eunuch's favor, Bai Shuanglin had been under immense pressure, exacerbated by Lin Sheng's withdrawal from her instruction, leaving her feeling as though she had been marked for death. She had taken the opportunity to visit Jingxin Lake for a respite, unaware that trouble awaited her. As she plunged into the lake, her first thought was a resigned acceptance of her fate, believing she was destined to drown, only to be unexpectedly saved and still alive. Gazing at the azure sky, she felt an overwhelming urge to weep. Meanwhile, the physician approached to assess her condition. Wugo, unable to bear seeing Lin Sheng remain soaked, took him back to Fengyi Palace after issuing a warning to Lu Zishu. Though warned, Lu Zishu was undaunted. While she had suffered a setback, she had not yet lost, especially since she had uncovered a significant secret. With this thought, her gaze fell upon the physician attending to Bai Shuanglin. The incredulous look on the physician's face had gone unnoticed by Wugo, who was preoccupied with Lin Sheng, yet Lu Zishu had caught it. As the royal physician, would he truly express disbelief merely because one possessed a stronger physique than average? A vague notion flickered in Lu Zishu's mind, too nebulous to grasp fully, prompting her to instruct Qing Ro to invite the physician for a private discussion. After the physician prescribed some warming medicine for Bai Shuanglin, he encountered Lu Zishu, who blocked his path, compelling him to follow her. Instantly, he realized he was in dire straits. However, upon seeing Qing Ro's gaze, he could only approach Yuning Palace with a face pale as death. "Zhang Taisher, do you believe there are many robust individuals in this world?" Upon entering Yuning Palace, he was met with Lu Zishu's probing question, and he quickly comprehended that his earlier reaction had been noted, leaving him in a state of despair. He wished to avoid entanglement in this affair, fearing for his life. Noticing Zhang Taisher's silence, Lu Zishu sighed and continued, "Zhang Taisher, I recall that you have a devoted wife in the capital." At once, Zhang Taisher jolted, kneeling before Lu Zishu. "I implore you, esteemed consort, do not harm my family." "Speak," Lu Zishu replied coolly. "I'm in a good mood lately and have no desire to resort to violence." Observing the trembling Zhang Taisher, she spoke with a chilling calmness. Hearing her words, Zhang Taisher, trembling, began to speak obliquely, conveying information to Lu Zishu in veiled terms. Clearly, he wished to avoid death, knowing well that what he said could be interpreted in many ways. "Esteemed consort, the medical texts state that men are generally stronger than women, but this is predicated on both parties having matured and accumulated sufficient yin and yang energies. If a man has been deprived of his yang essence at an early age, then not only is it fortunate to maintain any existing yang energy, but the accumulation of it becomes virtually impossible. Today, the pulse of that elder was indeed considerably more robust than that of the other elders." At this point, Zhang Tai could no longer continue his remarks. Meanwhile, Lu Zishu's pupils dilated in astonishment. It was at this moment that she, too, began to comprehend what Zhang Tai had implied. Feeling for the first time that she was inferior to Wugo, the doubts that had long plagued her were suddenly resolved. Surprisingly, her initial emotion was one of joy. Following, there was an overwhelming disbelief towards Wugo. How dare she? A torrent of mixed emotions flooded her mind, leaving her somewhat dazed. Thus, she closed her eyes, urging her thoughts to race as she contemplated how to leverage this situation. After much deliberation, she opened her eyes, and they gleamed with a murderous intent directed at Zhang Tai. Ironically, she had always believed that emotional decisions would never apply to her. Yet upon learning that Lin Sheng was not a eunuch but a genuine man, she found herself unwilling to sacrifice this peace that could obliterate Wugo. instead contemplating how to assist in concealing the truth from both Dugawugo and Lin Sheng. At that moment, Zhang Tai felt an icy chill envelop him. Although he was unaware of what murderous intent truly meant, he sensed that death was imminent. A wave of sorrow washed over him. Yet he quickly regained his composure and addressed Lu Zishu, not pleading for his own life, but rather for the mercy of his family, willing to accept his own fate. As for Lu Zishu, she did not arrive at an immediate decision. Zhang Tai was doomed, but the fate of his family remained uncertain. She dismissed the subdued Zhang Tai from her mind, closing her eyes as vivid recollections of the day's events flooded her thoughts. The moment Dugawugo had declared the intent to end Xiao Chengzi's life, and Lin Sheng's reaction in Fengyi Palace, conversing with Gu Chanyan, she resolved to observe their behavior. If they remained compliant, she would prefer not to dirty her hands. Lu Zishu massaged her temples, overwhelmed by the multitude of events that had transpired today. After a while, Qin Gru returned. Let it be known that he succumbed to an illness, Lu Zishu stated, thereby confirming the manner of Zhang Tai's demise. Qin Gru silently nodded in agreement. Meanwhile, in Fengyi Palace, Dugawugo was seated in Lin Sheng's embrace, drenched in fragrant sweat. Seeing you in such high spirits reassures me completely, Dugawugo remarked, gazing at Lin Sheng. I am unscathed, yet I find the incident involving Bai Shuanglin's fall into the water quite perplexing. You see, while I sought the shore, I vaguely perceived a female spectre-clad in white observing me from a bank. Lin Sheng recounted, lost in reminiscence. Could be a water ghost? The Jingxin Lake has claimed the lives of countless concubines and princesses throughout the dynasties. Dugawugo exclaimed, pulling Lin Sheng closer in fright. It's uncertain. Let us observe. Even if there is indeed a female ghost, no rumors have emerged over the years. Either she is highly restricted or I misidentified her. Regardless, we shall avoid Jingxin Lake in the future. Indeed, my husband, you are truly astute, Dugawugo replied, embracing Lin Sheng in admiration. Your words make me feel as if I could soar. Lin Sheng discerned the compliment in her words, relishing the praise. Dugawugo, with a playful smirk, continued. While my husband may not wish to ascend to the heavens, I long to experience the sensation of flight once more. You shall indulge me, won't you, my husband? She whispered the last words tenderly into Lin Sheng's ear, lightly brushing her lips against his earlobe, causing him to shiver involuntarily. Lin Sheng pulled her away, locking eyes with her. You temptress, today I shall act as the arbiter of justice. Behold my wrath. Simultaneously, the woman labeled a ghost by the couple lay in bed, sipping her medicine while listening to her wet nurse's admonitions. Chiron, your actions were exceedingly rash this time. The humidity near Jingxin Lake is so intense that merely visiting for the scenery could exacerbate your condition. Lu Mama expressed concern, observing the frailty of the woman lying in bed, seemingly on the brink of death. Fear not, Lu Ma. I am the daughter of the divine doctor, and I am well aware of my own body. A few days of rest will suffice for my recovery. Su Chiron replied with a pale smile before drinking the concoction in her hand. Alas, I know I cannot sway you. But did you not previously declare the desire to ensure Su family's legacy? Do not depart just yet. Lu Mama sighed in resignation after Su Chiron finished her medicine and departed the room. Once she was gone, Su Chiron, who had only appeared pale before, suddenly flushed with irregular red spots before violently coughing up blood. Cough, cough, I was indeed too ambitious. However, it was a necessity. Su Chiron skillfully retrieved silver needles, piercing them into herself while recalling Lin Sheng's selfless act of jumping from the upper floor to save another. In the most opulent chamber of Fengyi Palace, the esteemed empress of the Dazhou dynasty found herself in a state of supplication. Master, please spare me. As Lin Sheng, wielding the powers of the Huang man Shang Ti, unleashed his true strength, the once enchanting seductress transformed into a pleading maiden. Just as Dugawugo continued to plead for mercy, Ning Su burst into the room. Your Majesty, His Majesty has arrived. This announcement struck Lin Sheng like a bucket of cold water, jolting him and offering Dugawugo a unique experience. Fear not, my husband. I shall handle this. Dugawugo gently caressed Lin Sheng's cheek, assuring him. Lin Sheng encountered the Emperor of Dazhou, Bai Yin, who, standing beside the visibly weakened Dugawugo, regarded the imposing and handsome middle-aged man with concern. Has the Empress yet to recover from her cold? Bai Yin inquired, observing Dugu Wugo's flushed complexion contrasted by her fatigued expression. Indeed, Your Majesty. Tai Gao has informed me that my cold is particularly unusual, while not fatal. It is exceptionally hard to cure. Dugu Wugo replied. Not fatal? I have heard that Zhang Tai, who came to diagnose Shuanglin today, perished from cold. Bai Yin remarked, taking a sip of tea. Zhang Tai died of cold. Dugu Wugo's brow furrowed at Bai Yin's words. The Empress is unaware? Bai Yin set down his teacup, inquiring. Since I fell ill, I have scarcely heard news from outside the palace. Dugu Wugo replied nonchalantly. Is that so? Empress, you must take care of yourself. My harem still requires your management. Bai Yin expressed concern for Dugu Wugo. She nodded in acknowledgement, only to hear Bai Yin's tone shift. May I inquire when a new eunuch began serving the Empress? Bai Yin continued. Tai Gao mentioned that one of the reasons for my cold was the overwhelming yin energy in Fengyi Palace, which necessitated a balance with some yang energy. I found him quite agreeable and allowed him to attend to me. Dugu Wugo responded with her customary calmness. I see. However, Empress, I too found him rather impressive today, and since he saved Zhaoyang, I wish to appoint him as the Crown Prince's companion. Subsequently, I shall find you several more handsome eunuchs, if you so desire. Your Majesty, that will not be necessary. Dugu Wugo maintained a stoic expression as she gazed at Bai Yin, firmly rejecting his goodwill. Oh, why is that? Bai Yin, previously calm, was taken aback by her response and inquired. I am unwilling to part with him, Dugu Wugo declared, enunciating each word deliberately. The atmosphere was thick with silence. At this moment, Lin Sheng, moved yet vigilant, subtly grasped the dagger concealed within his sleeve, a precaution learned from the previous incident involving Lu Zishu. Over the past few days, his physique had grown increasingly formidable under the nurturing influence of Dugu Wugo and Shulan. Now, standing merely 3 paces away from Bai Yindao, he felt a surge of confidence that he could seize Bai Yindao if the situation demanded it. What if I, as the Emperor of the Great Zhou, command you to relinquish your affections? Bai Yindao inquired, his gaze fixed upon Dugu Wugo with an air of authority that bore down upon her. Dugu Wugo remained silent, her silence itself a statement. Once again, the room was enveloped in quietude, and just as Lin Sheng prepared to act amidst this stillness, Bai Yindao erupted into laughter. Ha ha! Empress, I never anticipated you would seek such an excuse to silence me. His words left Lin Sheng momentarily dumbfounded. He was not alone in this, for even Dugu Wugo exhibited surprise. Return to the Ning Shou Palace. With that, Bai Yindao displayed no further expressions and left without another word. As Bai Yindao departed, Lin Sheng cast a puzzled glance at Dugu Wugo, who had also expected a confrontation. Dugu Wugo appeared deep in thought, contemplating the implications of Bai Yindao's words. Particularly in light of recent events in the court, her expression shifted from confusion to astonishment, eventually settling into a peculiar demeanor before she addressed the bewildered Lin Sheng. My father was the former general of the cavalry, who expanded the territories of the Great Zhou, although he has since retired. My elder brother still commands hundreds of thousands of troops at the border, and my second brother holds a position as an assistant minister of revenue within the court. For many years, the emperor has regarded me with suspicion. It is crucial to understand that the forces capable of defending the borders are far superior to many other military factions within the kingdom. The Dugu family not only wields authority over this military power, but also has the resources to sustain it, ensuring its continued strength, an unsettling reality for the emperor. Thus, it can be argued that the emperor has refrained from taking action against the Dugu family for several reasons. Firstly, a lack of confidence. Secondly, Dugu Wugo's childlessness. And thirdly, the family's unwavering loyalty. Therefore, Bai Yindao harbors a strong aversion towards the powerful Dugu Wugo, a sentiment she has grown aware of since ascending to the position of empress. She has even devised strategies to mitigate this, such as making errors to leave the emperor with incriminating evidence against her, an approach both she and her brothers have adopted. In this context, the rumors concerning the treasonous intentions of Prince Zhao were intended to serve as leverage. This explains why Bu Ruiying has been in close proximity to the empress since Lin Sheng's arrival in this world. However, the matters concerning Prince Zhao have now been cast aside by both Bu Ruiying and Dugu Wugo. The latter, having spent countless days with Lin Sheng, had almost entirely forgotten these concerns until Bai Yindao's remarks brought them to the forefront. Yet this line of reasoning felt overly contrived. A sentiment shared by both Dugu and Lin Sheng. Lin Sheng spoke up. Could it be that he intends to placate you with such words, only to act against you once he is in a secure location? The possibility was not to be dismissed. Ningsu, take this token from me through the secret passage to the Dugu family, delivering it to my father and second brother, so they may prepare in advance. Dugu instructed Ning Su to set the plan in motion. Ning Su, recognizing the gravity of the situation, took the message and swiftly departed through the so-called secret passage. What is this secret passage? Lin Sheng inquired, gazing at a concealed pit in a remote corner of the Fengyi Palace, astonished by Dugu response. I did not excavate this. At least half of it is not my doing, Dugu clarified, explaining that she discovered the vast pit upon her arrival at the Fengyi Palace, uncertain of its origins, though it indeed resembled a secret passage. Nevertheless, it proved fortuitous. At that moment, Dugu had sensed by Yin Dao's growing suspicion towards the Dugu family, leading her to privately complete the unfinished passage, ensuring an escape route in case of unforeseen circumstances. Fengyi Palace, heavy armor? Lin Sheng nodded in acknowledgement, shifting the conversation to other matters. Dugu gazed at her foolish husband with exasperation, then spoke resignedly. Husband, this is the harem, not a military camp. Where would I find heavy armor? What a pity. If the emperor were to storm in now, I would be unable to fend off such a multitude. Lin Sheng lamented, reflecting on his inadequacies. He felt weak compared to the general populace. Had he possessed the strength of a Superman or similar, he would not find himself in such a passive position. Dugu chuckled at Lin Sheng's words and reached for his hand. Do not worry, husband. Even if Bai Yindao brings guards to the Fengyi Palace, he will not be able to harm me, and I shall not allow him to lay a finger on you. You make me sound like a kept man, Lin Sheng teased, squeezing Dugu hand. Kept man? What do you mean by that? Dugu inquired, perplexed by his terminology from the future. It means relying entirely on a woman, Lin Sheng explained, but as Dugu opened her mouth to respond, he quickly added, but I do not mind. Dugu laughed, extending her arms to pull Lin Sheng's head into her bosom. As a kept man, shouldn't you express your gratitude to the one who provides for you? Understanding the playful nature of their long-standing relationship, Lin Sheng recognized her intentions. This might not be wise. The emperor could strike back at any moment. Isn't that all the more exhilarating? Dugu teased, her fingers playfully caressing the back of Lin Sheng's head. Do not speak, just hold me. Meanwhile, Bai Yindao, perceived as a rival and romantic interest by Lin Sheng and Dugu, exited the Fengyi Palace and strode purposefully towards the Ningshou Palace without pause, his oppressive aura instilling fear in the attendants nearby, who instinctively diminished their presence. Gongguan, upon reaching the Ningshou Palace, Bai Yindao coldly called out the name of his attendant. At your service. Gong Daoban responded instantly. Investigate for me. Uncover the ancestry of that little eunuch down to the 18th generation. Bai Yindao's icy command sent shivers through Gong Daoban. Halfway through his order, Bai Yindao suddenly hesitated, seemingly conflicted about whether to continue. The room fell into an icy silence, and just as Gong Daoban felt his blood freeze, Bai Yindao finally spoke again. Lastly, ascertain whether this little eunuch is truly unblemished. Yes, your majesty. Gong Daoban quickly acknowledged the imperative command and hurried off to investigate, not daring to delay. Once Gong Daoban left, Bai Yindao found himself alone in the room, the chilling pressure that had surrounded him significantly easing. Clearly, he was not as furious as he had outwardly appeared. As a man, it was impossible to feign indifference upon discovering that his woman had a kept man. His anger was undeniable, especially as the supreme ruler of the Great Zhou. Yet, intriguingly, upon witnessing Dugu's fierce defense of Lin Sheng in the Fengyi Palace, he felt not only anger, but also an unexpected emotion, excitement. This was indeed a most terrifying revelation. He gazed upon his beloved as she expressed her affection for another, and the thrill that coursed through him was utterly preposterous. He could not accept it, which propelled him to hastily depart from Fengyi Palace, returning to Ningshou Palace without uttering a single word, striving to suppress the sensation or convince himself that the excitement he felt was illusory. Yet, regardless of how he attempted to rationalize it, the profound humiliation remained, and the exhilaration nestled deep within him persisted, akin to a marrow-deep invasion. Even solitude, Images of Wugo and Lin Sheng together stirred uncontrollably in his mind, only intensifying his excitement. Bai Yindao found this unbearable and sought to quell such thoughts, resorting to feigned fury as he drew his sword and relentlessly slashed at everything in Ningxiu Palace. The emperor emerged from Fengyi Palace, displeased, and upon returning to Ningxiu Palace, the news swiftly reached several of the highest-ranking concubines in the harem. In the past, they would have viewed this as a splendid opportunity. However, now, Shun Yuanji, having confirmed that Bai Yindao had taken no one, such as a certain young eunuch, chose to disregard it. At that moment, Su Zhaohua was conspiring with Bu Ruiying for a grand scheme. Conversely, Lu Zixi, upon hearing the news, made her way to Ningxiu Palace. Lu Guifei requests an audience? Sent her away. He was seated in the disarray of Ningxiu Palace, and upon hearing the news relayed by the eunuch outside, he waved his hand dismissively, instructing Lu Zixi to return whence she came, for he had no interest in seeing anyone. His mind was besieged by the intimate actions of Lin Sheng and Wugo, with waves of excitement flooding his thoughts and body, revealing to him the truth of his own perversion. He was indeed a man who could not bear to witness his beloved taken advantage of by another. This realization left Bai Yindao in a state of quietude, yearning only for solitude, wishing to see no one. Upon receiving the message from the eunuch, Lu Zixi nodded silently, uttering a polite remark before departing Ningxiu Palace, heading toward Fengyi Palace. At that moment, within the chamber, Wugo and Lin Sheng were engaged in their exercises when they suddenly heard Shu Lan's urgent shout from outside. Wugo hastily wrapped herself in bedding, while Lin Sheng skillfully donned his garments. Guifei, you cannot enter. With a forceful push, Lu Zixi swung open the bedroom door. Before her stood Wugo, swathed in bedding, and Lin Sheng, clad and turned away from her. Lu Zixi, how dare you intrude upon the queen's residence? Do you wish to court death? Wugo glanced at the two palace maids Lu Zixi had brought, holding Shu Lan and Jian, and then rebuked Lu Zixi fiercely. Am I the one with audacity? In response to Wugo's accusation, Lu Zixi scoffed, then shut the door behind her and approached Lin Sheng, who remained oblivious to her intentions. What do you intend to do? Wugo watched Lu Zixi with a penetrating gaze. What do you think? I merely believe the queen's audacity surpasses mine, daring to harbor a man and indulge in licentiousness within the harem, Lu Zixi declared, reaching Lin Sheng's side and attempting to confirm her suspicions, only to have her hand seized by Lin Sheng, who pressed her down onto the bed. Lin Sheng, do you believe that if I scream, everyone in the harem will know you are a false eunuch? Lu Zixi threatened, feeling the pressure of his knee against her waist. To kill her? Lin Sheng's inquiry directed at Wugo elicited a fervent struggle from Lu Zixi, who berated him for his ingratitude, recalling how she had valued him, allowing him to return when he was in Yuning Palace, and concealing his identity as a false eunuch. Yet, Wugo discerned that Lu Zixi's struggle was merely a performance. If she truly wished to eliminate them, a single cry would suffice, and she did not believe the palace maids controlling Shu Lan and Ji Yin were deaf. Moreover, she knew Lu Zixi well enough to understand that since she dared to come to Fengyi Palace, she would have contingencies in place, ensuring her own safety and possessing leverage for negotiation. But why was she staging this performance? What did she desire? As Wugo pondered Lu Zixi's motives, she suddenly noted that despite Lu Zixi's incessant struggles, they were not particularly vigorous, especially as she repeatedly uttered words of favor towards Lin Sheng while subtly gauging his expression. Instantly, it became clear to her that this calculating woman had fallen victim to her husband's indiscriminate allure. An idea took root in her mind, one that could grant her the upper hand in negotiating with Lu Zixi while ensuring Lu Zixi would not dare to make a desperate play. With a gentle smile, Wugo addressed Lin Sheng, who was restraining Lu Zixi. Husband, the only course of action now is to drag her down with us. Hearing her words, Lin Sheng was momentarily taken aback, while Lu Zixi ceased her struggles, seemingly stunned by Wugo's proposition. Then, Wugo stepped before Lu Zixi, extending her hands to tear open Lu Zixi's collar, revealing a pale pink undergarment. Grasping this garment, Wugo gave it a vigorous tug, exposing a pair of delicate breasts to the air. You! Lu Zixi gasped, startled by the cool air, yet Wugo swiftly covered her mouth. Guifei, I presume you would not wish for anyone to witness you in such a state before a strange man, would you? Madam, have you perhaps received training in such matters? Lin Sheng observed Dugu Wugo's adeptness in intimidation, and had he not known her well, he might have thought her a villain from some film. Husband, why do you hesitate? Did you not previously express a desire to thoroughly torment Lu Guifei, to avenge your grievances? Dugu Wugo chided Lin Sheng, who appeared entranced by her. Upon hearing her words, Lin Sheng lowered his gaze, noting the contrast between Lu Zishi's current demeanor and the haughty air she had exuded upon their first meeting. Now, she resembled a frightened doe, panic-stricken. No, please. At that moment, Lu Zishi, to her misfortune, displayed a pleading expression towards Lin Sheng. Who could resist such a sight? Chapter 13. The arrival of Lu Zishi. With this thought in mind, Lin Sheng ceased to speak further, wrapping an arm around Lu Zishi's shoulder and supporting her waist, gently bringing her down onto the bed. Do not come any closer, Lu Zishi exclaimed as she landed on the bed, instinctively covering her exposed shoulder, offering no further resistance. Lin Sheng, with practiced ease, shed his outer garments and leaned over Lu Zishi. She gasped as he pressed down upon her. Feeling her wrist firmly grasped and pinned above her head, the skin of her shoulder fully exposed to his gaze. Lin Sheng leaned closer, his fingertips brushing against her shoulder, eliciting a soft whimper from Lu Zishi, her body succumbing to a sudden weakness, trembling involuntarily. Clearly, Lin Sheng's actions rendered her exceedingly sensitive. He switched his grip, maintaining one hand on Lu Zishi's wrists while the other caressed her opposite shoulder, deliberately teasing her. He murmured, his touch coaxing and kneading, igniting a tempest of emotions within Lu Zishi. Yet, Lin Sheng remained indifferent to her reactions, fixated solely on the notion of exacting revenge upon her. As memories of the humiliation he had suffered at her hands resurfaced, Lin Sheng's once gentle fingertips morphed into a firmer grip, his anger manifesting in the intensity of his actions. Please. The sudden force left Lu Zishi at a loss. Overwhelmed by sensations of pleasure and pain, her body taut and unable to evade his advances. However, Lin Sheng paid no heed to her pleas for mercy. His fingers continued to grip the skin of her shoulder, tugging slightly before releasing. Watching as the flesh quivered beneath his gaze, which deepened with intensity, he then withdrew his hand from her wrist, placing it upon the reddened shoulder he had just kneaded, continuing to caress with a wild fervor that made Lu Zishi's body tremble involuntarily. At this moment, she had lost all will to resist. Even though her hands seemed to have a chance to break free, they remained raised above her head, ensnared by an invisible force, allowing Lin Sheng to unleash his pent-up fury upon her. Lin Sheng's eyes fell upon her other shoulder, and, after pressing his palm against it, he leaned in again, his fingertips repeating prior motions, driven by an unmasked desire for vengeance that intertwined with dominance. As this act slowed, the fury within him surged further. He seized Lu Zishi's collar, yanking it forcefully to reveal a swath of her fair neck and shoulders. His hand ventured forth, sensing her body had grown soft. And as he gazed upon her flushed face and unsteady breath, a cold smirk curled upon his lips. When Lu Zishi met his smile, her already frantic heart raced even faster, her breaths growing shallow. Lin Sheng remained oblivious to the impact of his smile, noticing only how her body had grown increasingly pliant, a state that pleased him immensely. He grasped Lu Zishi's delicate thigh, pulling her toward him, their bodies pressing close with undeniable authority. Lu Zishi gasped in surprise and pain, her waist arching sharply. Lin Sheng showed no mercy, his actions wholly driven by the need to vent his rage. He hadn't anticipated her body would be so tense, as if she had never been approached in such a manner before, which only fueled his sense of pride. While he drew near with anger and restraint, he continued to knead her shoulder. Lu Zishi felt as though she were merely a plaything, devoid of any tenderness from Lin Sheng, who expressed only his wrathful dominance. The complex emotions intertwined within her left her astute mind utterly blank, reducing her to a state of involuntary submission. Lin Sheng's reaction to her response intensified his fury further, and within moments, he collided forcefully against her. Bang! The impact caused both to feel a sting of pain, and in that instant, Lin Sheng's wrath was fully released, a state that lasted nearly 10 seconds. This was Lin Sheng's ability, As their encounters increased, his control over his emotions and actions grew ever more formidable. Even Dugawugo, who had long been accustomed to his intensity, found it hard to endure. Such extreme outbursts were challenging to bear, even for Dugawugo, let alone for Lu Zishu, who was experiencing this for the first time. A soft moan escaped Lu Zishu's throat, a blend of grievance and helplessness, her mind clouded by overwhelming emotions. The calm calculations she once possessed replaced by an unprecedented vulnerability. Lin Sheng gazed at this version of Lu Zishu, secretly wishing to etch this moment in his memory. My husband is truly cherishing Sister Lu. At that moment, Dugawugo, who had been observing, spoke up with evident jealousy in her tone. What Lin Sheng viewed as an act of vengeance, Dugawugo perceived as genuine favoritism. He had never treated her in such a manner. My dear, are you feeling jealous? Lin Sheng chuckled at the jealous Dugawugo, easing his actions, the anger on his face dissipating considerably. Indeed, Wugo felt envious. My husband had never treated me this way, and Wugo cannot abide it. As Dugawugo spoke, she shed her outer garment, revealing her perfectly sculpted form, and leaped toward Lin Sheng. Alas, such eagerness is not advisable. Lin Sheng extended his arms, embracing Dugawugo, helplessly saying, "It's all right. Wugo believes my husband will treat me well." Dugawugo replied, gently resting her hand on Lin Sheng's arm. Lin Sheng felt a stir in his heart, his hands sliding around Dugawugo's waist as he lifted her effortlessly. Gazing into her eyes, "My husband, what is this?" This position was unfamiliar to Dugawugo, and just as she was filled with confusion, Lin Sheng brought her closer, his movements still assertive, causing her to emit a soft cry. Subsequently, Lin Sheng cradled Dugawugo against his chest, and she felt herself grow weak, breathless. "My husband, please spare Wugo. I know I was wrong." Dugawugo pleaded softly, her arms tightly encircling Lin Sheng's neck, pressing his face against her shoulder. Little enchantress. If I did not teach you a lesson today, you might continue to misbehave," Lin Sheng said with a hint of forceful affection, while Dugawugo melted completely into his embrace, devoid of strength. Lin Sheng then placed the fragile Dugawugo beside Lu Zishu, and as he observed the two women on the bed, a wave of confidence surged within him, making him feel as if there were no rival left in this world. With a light sigh of invincible solitude, Lin Sheng seized Lu Zishu's ankle, gently pulling her up so that she leaned against the edge of the bed, using his foot to express his lingering discontent upon her face. Lu Zishu, already in a state of confusion, found his actions uncomfortable, involuntarily letting out a soft whimper. Yet Lin Sheng remained indifferent, pressing against her cheek, while coldly reprimanding, "You tread upon me. You tread upon me. Today, you shall taste this flavor." This continued until the early hours, until Lu Zishu was utterly exhausted, her brows furrowing at even the slightest touch, revealing her discomfort. Only then did Lin Sheng finally calm down, casting aside a remark of useless before turning his attention to Dugawugo. The next morning, Lu Zishu awoke slowly, her body aching all over. She looked down at herself in shock, internally cursing. Lin Sheng truly lacks restraint. She lifted her gaze, scanning the surroundings for Lin Sheng, only to find him entwined with Dugawugo, still in slumber. In that instant, a tinge of envy blossomed within her. Feeling that she ultimately could not measure up to Dugawugo, who could endure Lin Sheng's overwhelming force. Shoo! Just then, Dugawugo opened her eyes, locking gazes with Lu Zishu, and in response to Lu Zishu's astonished expression, she raised a finger to her lips, signaling for silence. After this gesture, Dugawugo tightened her embrace around Lin Sheng, closing her eyes once more, whether in genuine sleep or feigned slumber, unclear. Lu Zishu, warned, quietly lay back down, feeling the intense ache throughout her body, unable to rise. The slightest movement caused her to wince, ultimately leading her to helplessly close her eyes. Meanwhile, in the Yuning Palace, Shen Yuanji was impatiently inquiring, "Is Lady Lu still not awake?" "Your Highness, the Empress has caught a chill after seeing His Majesty last night, and has yet to awaken. Perhaps you should return another day," a nearby maid gently responded, glancing at the still inner chamber. "I cannot wait. I must see Lu Zishu today." Upon hearing this, Shen Yuanji's anger flared instantly, her voice rising. Ever since she had encountered Lin Sheng the previous day, he had occupied her thoughts, and even the portrait of him could not alleviate her longing. Coupled with the unease that had arisen within her last night and the urgency of a significant matter, she was desperate to have an in-depth conversation with Lu Zishu. Yet the latter was avoiding her. To Shen Yuanji, the so-called chill seemed merely a feigned excuse. Being accustomed to the palace, why put on such a charade? Your Highness, please maintain your composure, Qing Rose said blankly, addressing the furious Shen Yuanji with a cold tone. Very well, very well. Tell her that if she avoids me today, she will surely regret it in the future. Shen Yuanji, in a fit of rage, tossed this remark before sweeping away in anger. It seems the Empress is somewhat discerning. Within the Yongshou Palace, Bai Yindao listened as the chief eunuch reported beside him that Lin Sheng had already cleansed himself, with both witnesses and evidence available, causing his expression to ease significantly. If you were truly a eunuch, then Duga Wugo could at most be regarded as a pleasing attendant, and he would not find himself donning a humiliating label. A mere moment later, Bai Yindao's expression darkened once more. Upon discovering that Lin Sheng was indeed a true eunuch, he felt not only relief, but also an inexplicable sense of disappointment. Such thoughts left him restless, unable to come to terms with his emotions. Very well. Since it is thus, he decided to let her be, accepting whatever fate may unfold. Bai Yindao waved his hand irritably and spoke. Since Lin Sheng had been revealed as a true eunuch, there was no need for him to cling to this matter any longer. Neither the Empress's feelings nor his own irrational thoughts were worth jeopardizing his relationship with the Empress over a mere attendant. My husband is so impressive. Even Wu Guo listens to him. In Fengyi Palace, Lu Zishu watched Lin Sheng and Dugong Wu Guo, who were nestled together, with a heart full of envy. She yearned to join them, but her entire body ached, leaving her unable to move, so she could only watch helplessly, consumed by jealousy. What kind of decorum is this? Being so intimate in broad daylight? Lu Zishu remarked, her tone laced with a hint of envy that she could not conceal. Upon hearing her words, Lin Sheng released Dugong Wu Guo and walked slowly toward Lu Zishu. What do you intend to do? Lu Zishu stammered, a flicker of panic crossing her eyes as Lin Sheng approached. Extend your hand. Lin Sheng looked down at her, his tone icy, laced with an undeniable command. Lu Zishu hesitated for a moment before slowly raising her hand. Hurry! Lin Sheng barked, startling Lu Zishu, who promptly placed her hand on his arm. Come closer. Lin Sheng's command was imbued with undeniable authority. Lu Zishu, her face betraying a mix of reluctance and anticipation, gradually inched closer to him. You are dawdling. Lin Sheng snorted coldly, placing both hands on the back of Lu Zishu's head and gently pressing her closer. Ugh! Lu Zishu emitted a soft sound, her cheeks instantly flushing crimson. Now, do you still think this is inappropriate? Lin Sheng coldly inquired, observing Lu Zishu's flushed face and trembling body. With her head lowered, Lu Zishu could not muster a reply, too timid to raise her gaze. My husband, why did you abandon Wu Guo? Dugong Wu Guo interjected, drawing closer and tugging at Lin Sheng's sleeve, her tone tinged with a touch of melancholy. Haha, my apologies, it was a moment of weakness. Lin Sheng immediately offered a cheerful apology, leaning down to place a gentle kiss on Dugong Wu Guo's cheek. He then released Lu Zishu and took Dugong Wu Guo aside, continuing their affectionate closeness. Lu Zishu touched her lips, staring blankly at the two, her heart a tumult of emotions. Once their intimacy had somewhat ebbed, Lin Sheng lifted his gaze to Lu Zishu and said, Come here and help me straighten my garments. Lu Zishu, confronted by Lin Sheng's cold and commanding demeanor, felt her heart race inexplicably. Unconsciously, she licked her lips but obediently crawled to his side, following his instructions as she tidied his disheveled robes. Meanwhile, within the walls of Bai Chang Palace, a different atmosphere prevailed. Su Zhaohua sat regally in the main seat, with Princess Zhao Buruing to her left, and to her right sat the noble consort Shen Yuanji. Consort, I hope our collaboration will be fruitful, Buruing remarked, observing Shen Yuanji's still unwelcoming demeanor. Indeed, let us hope you keep your promises, Shen Yuanji replied curtly, her mind brimming with dissatisfaction toward Lu Zishu. With the other party being untrustworthy and elusive, she had no choice but to abandon this ally and seek others for collaboration. Su Zhaohua and Buruing exchanged glances upon hearing Shen Yuanji's words. Buruing then spoke with a smile. Of course, we are not treacherous individuals. Once sister Su ascends to the position of empress, we shall share Lin Gonggong. Shun Yunji nodded with a composed expression. Yet internally, she scoffed at the notion of sharing. She desired to possess him entirely for herself. Meanwhile, Bu Ruiying and Su Zhaohua exchange another glance, their unspoken understanding eluding Shun Yuanji, clearly indicating that they were not as straightforward as they appeared.